Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening, and began to condense into a black ball. The black ball gradually grew from the size of a marble, to the size of a ping pong ball, then to the size of a tennis ball, and finally to the size of a basketball. This is the tailed beast bomb of the 5 tails, Kakuo. The destructive aura carried on this tailed beast bomb. Even standing next to Han, Oinaki couldn't help but feel a bit palpitations. Oinaki immediately understood why Han did this. Han wanted to use a tailed beast bomb to counter the tailed beast bomb of the Whitebeard pirates. Even if it's not possible to completely neutralize the other party's tailed beast bomb, at least it can stop the other party's tailed beast bomb. So that the tailed beast bomb won't fly into the village. Scatter back. Oinaki immediately shouted to a group of Anbu ninjas next to him. One by one, the ninjas of Hidden Stone's village quickly retreated backwards. They all kept their distance from Han. Also at this moment, the tailed beast bomb in Han's mouth had already flown out. A circle of surging airwaves also spread around. It was like a terrifying gust of wind blowing past. The ninjas of Hidden Stone's village, who had already retreated a distance, couldn't help but retreat a few more steps. Whoosh! Under their horrified gaze, that tailed beast bomb turned into a stream of light and flew towards the distance at a speed that was too fast to cover its ears. On the other side, the tailed beast bomb that Kakashi had been brewing was also ready, and it flew out of his mouth. Whoosh! In the next instant, the 2 tailed beast bombs just collided in the middle of a canyon passage in the Rocky Mountain. The whole world seemed to quiet down for a moment, and then a very dazzling light appeared in front of them, like a blazing sun descending. The violent explosion accompanied by a violent roar, and a huge fireball emerged, and the fireball enveloped several rocky mountains. Boom 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 boom. The destructive shockwave and sound wave spread and wreaked havoc, and the loud noise made almost everyone's eardrums hurt. Naruto quickly stretched out his hand to block in front of him, and the explosion shockwave that had already approached Moby Dick followed. The violent shockwave caused the entire Moby Dick to shake violently. If Naruto hadn't hurriedly regained his footing, he might have been blown away by this shockwave. Shikamaru, Sakura, Lee, and Chaji behind him were not so lucky. These 3 little kids hadn't had time to realize what was happening. Their eyes were blinded by the strong light. Then their ears were temporarily deafened by the loud noise. The visible shockwave even blew them away. In the end, it was Kisame and Shizue who took turns to take action, each grabbing a little kid, and then they caught them. This is the collision of the tail beast bomb. Konan squinted her eyes. She also felt a little sting in her eyes. It should be that the Jinchuriki of Hidden Stone's village realized what Kakashi was going to do, so he took action in time to stop Kakashi. It's a pity that his shot was of no use, but the collision of the 2-tailed beast bombs blew up all the obstacles. It also blew up the geographical advantage of Hidden Stone's village. Just as Konan analyzed, when the fire and smoke were gradually blown away by the strong wind, several mountains in front seemed to have been erased. A huge pit appeared in front of him. All the traps that Hidden Stone's village had set up in that place in advance were destroyed by the explosion. The terrifying power of the collision and explosion of the 2-tailed beast bombs made everyone present gasp in awe. Kakashi, this little kid is really amazing. How long has he been a Jinchuriki? He can already use the tailed beast bomb. Tsunade clicked her tongue. This power is really great. If these 2-tailed beast bombs explode in Hidden Leaf Village, I guess most of Hidden Leaf Village will be leveled, and the remaining places will also be devastated. Orochimaru chuckled. After all, this is the power of the tailed beast. Every tailed beast has the power to dominate the battlefield. As long as a Jinchuriki can perfectly use the power of the tailed beast, he can easily control the balance of a war. Orochimaru is not interested in tailed beasts, he is not interested in anything unrelated to immortality. Although the power of Kakashi's move is indeed so strong that Orochimaru is very wary. But Orochimaru only needs to think about it. There is no worry at all. After all, he is not an enemy of the Whitebeard pirates now, he is just a weak and helpless prisoner. Could it be that the Whitebeard pirates would feed him, a prisoner, a tailed beast bomb? Gorara. Whitebeard's hearty laughter echoed through the sky. Well done. Silly son. The rocky mountains that were blocking the way in front had already disappeared, and Whitebeard immediately ordered, "Let's go." Whitebeard smiled. "Since they are unwilling to communicate with us peacefully, let's greet them in the way of pirates." Gorara. The hurricane caused by the explosion of the two-tailed beast bombs did not stop, and the gusts of wind kept blowing Whitebeard's large cloak and crescent beard. The invisible conqueror's haki unconsciously spread out. This made Oenaki and others on the other side not know why. They all felt a sinking feeling in their hearts. Damn. Kitsuchi was surprised. The explosion of the tailed beast bomb has blown up all the traps and natural dangers. The Whitebeard pirate's Moby Dick is about to charge indirectly. Oenaki's expression was solemn and gloomy. Under such circumstances he naturally couldn't blame Han. Because if Han didn't make a move, the tailed beast bomb of the Whitebeard pirates might fly into the village. Without the geographical advantage, they can only forcibly confront the pirates. Send the order. All ninjas prepare for battle. Chapter 309, Whitebeard Pirates vs. Hidden Stones Village. Gorara. Whitebeard, holding Murakamagiri, stood on the bow of the Moby Dick, and from beginning to end, his face was always wearing a faint smile, as if he didn't regard Hidden Stones Village, one of the 5 major ninja villages, as a real opponent at all. Since the Rocky Mountains blocking the road had turned into dust, now with a pair of naked eyes, one could see Hidden Stones Village in the distance. At the same time, Whitebeard could also clearly see the ninjas of Hidden Stones Village, blocking the way of Moby Dick in front. Those ninjas were mobilizing quickly, some were blocking in front, and some were going around to the left and right sides of Moby Dick. Obviously, they were implementing a tactic. They wanted to use a pincer attack to firmly clamp the Whitebeard pirates in this position. Whitebeard only needed to count roughly to find out that the number of ninjas who came out to prepare for the battle in Hidden Stones Village must be at least tens of thousands. This number is much more than the ninjas of Hidden Clouds Village. The number of people is almost doubled. That's called a sea of people. Mobilizing so many people to stop our Whitebeard pirates, it's really a big deal. Gorararar. The smile on Whitebeard's face remained unchanged. He just glanced at the ninjas on the left and right sides, and then focused his gaze on the front. Whitebeard could see that in the crowd in front, there was a very small figure standing in the center of the front. If he guessed correctly, that short person should be the Sushi Kage of Hidden Stones Village, right? Kisame, carrying Seimata, stood next to Whitebeard, and he was also looking at the Hidden Stones Village ninjas who were dividing their troops. The smile on Kisame's face was a bit grim, and the tone of his speech was a bit teasing. All the obstructions that can hide their figures around have been blown up by the tailed beast bomb. Their actions and tactics, in our eyes, they can't hide at all. Kisame spoke out the most embarrassing situation of Hidden Stones Village today. In the high-altitude view on Moby Dick, almost no ninja from Hidden Stones Village could escape their gaze. Then, Kisame asked Whitebeard. "Pops, there are only a few hundred meters left to hit them, do you want to stop and bombard them?" Whitebeard's smile grew wider. "Isn't it spacious ahead? Foolish son, why stop?" Kisame immediately understood Pop's meaning. Pops wanted to directly drive the Moby Dick, charging straight ahead to break through. This style of doing things. As expected of Pops. Kisame also got excited. He controlled the water flow under the Moby Dick, and the pirate ship suddenly sped up. The huge Moby Dick charged straight towards Hidden Stones Village, completely ignoring the group of Hidden Stones Village ninjas blocking the way. Seeing this scene, the rock-hidden ninjas on both sides of the Moby Dick were stunned. Wait. These pirates are ignoring us, they want to break into the village. On Hidden Stones Village, Jonin widened his eyes, gritting his teeth. We can't let them get close to the village, stop them. The rock-hidden ninjas on both sides were very tacit, like a gradually closing pincer. They attacked the Moby Dick. There were no pleasantries between the ninjas and the pirates. From the moment they met, they regarded each other as enemies. When the Moby Dick appeared here, it meant the war had already begun. Hundreds of elite rock-hidden ninjas quickly made hand signs. They cooperatively slapped the ground with both bombs, Earth-style Great Wall of Earth. The ground in front began to tremble violently. A huge wall rose from the ground, like a mountain tens of meters high, blocking the Moby Dick. If the Moby Dick continues to sail forward regardless, it will hit it. There were also hundreds of other ninjas who made hand signs at the same time, their eyes wide open. They shouted, Earth-style Great Exploding Earth Dragon. A huge Earth Dragon, made up of mud and rocks, slowly raised its head from the ground. The ferocious Earth Dragon, just one head was half the size of the Moby Dick. Under the control of a group of Hidden Stones Village ninjas, the Earth Dragon charged towards the Moby Dick. That's it. Suddenly, Tsunada's voice rang out. Tsunade patted Naruto's shoulder satisfactorily. Kid, 10 million ryo, not a penny less. Tsunade slowly turned around, her eyes slightly narrowed, the corner of her mouth hooked up. It's been a long time since I've moving a bit and getting some money. It's also earning some gambling money. The next second, Tsunade's figure disappeared instantly. She jumped into the air tens of meters high, bit her fingertip and pressed it against the air, summoning jutsu. With a puff of white smoke, Slug Sage appeared instantly, its huge body just blocking the path of the Earth Dragon. Bang! Slug Sage's body was hit with a big hole. One after another small slugs slowly fell from the big hole. But those small slugs quickly crawled back up, and the big hole slowly recovered as before. Tsunade-sama, why can't you resist getting involved in ninja affairs again this time? Slug Sage said with a slightly amused tone. Slug Sage just had to take a quick glance to see that there was a large group of Hidden Stones village ninjas in front. Life is not easy, you always have to earn some money. Tsunade stood on top of Slug Sage's head and said, throw me to that wall. Okay. Slug Sage swung its head, a huge force, directly threw Tsunade out. Tsunade's small figure flew out breaking the sound barrier, the speed was so fast that it even caused a sonic boom. Heaven kick of pain. She kicked up at the wall blocking the Moby Dick, and her monstrous strength caused a large part of the huge wall to collapse on the spot. Tsunade's sudden move shocked a group of Hidden Stones village ninjas. Even Oanaki was taken aback. Slug? Is this Tsunade's summoning Bisat from Hidden Leaf Village? When did she join a Whitebeard Pirates? Hidden Leaf Village actually allowed such a special ninja to join a pirate crew? Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr grinned. Naruto, this silly son of mine, give her 10 million, although it's a bit of a loss, but it seems to be okay. Gorr. The ninjas of Hidden Stones Village, after a brief 2-second stupor, immediately divided hundreds of elite ninjas to attack Tsunade and the Slug. The rest of the Hidden Stones Village ninjas continued to attack the Moby Dick. We can't let you guys destroy the Moby Dick. Does this place have a shipyard or not? Seeing a group of Hidden Stones Village ninjas on the side, Kisame couldn't help it. Water style, great exploding water colliding wave. Rolling water formed a huge wave and surged towards a group of Hidden Stones Village ninjas in front, who hurriedly used Earth Flow Wall to try to block Kisame's exaggerated ninjutsu. Unfortunately, they overestimated themselves and underestimated Kisame, and on the spot, hundreds of ninjas were hit by the huge wave and were in a mess. Their bodies were directly hit by the surging water and flew far away, each of them spitting blood and losing their combat power on the spot. On the ship, Sasuke glanced at Fu, who was eager to try, and said expressionlessly, "You haven't established a real bond with the tailed beast inside you yet, so just stay on the ship honestly." After saying that, Sasuke jumped off the ship without hesitation, the corner of his mouth raised in confidence. "Matatabi, let's fight side by side." Sasuke, all by himself, charged straight at a group of Hidden Stones Village ninjas. "Damn pirates, a little brat dares to charge at us, actually looking down on us." On Hidden Stones Village Chunin gritted his teeth. "Let me take care of you." He swung a ninja sword and was about to slash at Sasuke. The next second, his gaze met Sasuke's eyes. A pair of double Tomoe Sharingan appeared in front of him. Sharingan? Damn. The Hidden Stones Village Chunin muttered to himself, but it was too late. A simple Sharingan Ganjutsu made him stand still for a second. And this second of time, on the battlefield, can take a person's life. Sasuke, holding a kunai, easily slit the man's throat. And quickly used a ninjutsu against a dozen Hidden Stones Village ninjas in front. Fire style, super fire style, great fireball. A huge fireball surged forward. Scared, the dozen or so Hidden Stones Village ninjas' pupils contracted and they hurriedly dodged to both sides. A figure flipped from behind Sasuke to in front of Sasuke and quickly targeted an opponent. Gentle fist, 8 trigrams 8 palms. It was Neji who followed Sasuke's footsteps. Neji seized the opportunity and targeted an Hidden Stones Village ninja who was scared by Sasuke's fire style. The 8 trigrams 8 palms were all out, and he instantly took the opponent's life. Sasuke said unhappily. "Hey, don't steal my opponent." Neji said confidently. Family members should help each other. On the other side, seeing Sasuke and Neji go down, Naruto also went down. Naruto had a confident smile on his face and used a ninjutsu he had just learned yesterday, wind style, vacuum great sphere. Naruto took a deep breath and exhaled forward. A huge invisible wind bullet flew out towards the front. Be careful. This kid is not simple. Don't underestimate the enemy. At a critical moment, a tall Jonin from Hidden Stones Village took action. Earth style, rock fist technique. His right arm formed a large fist made of rock, and he punched heavily towards the wind bullet that Naruto spat out. Bang! The wind bullet was neutralized, and a crack appeared in his right arm's rock fist. The Jonin from Hidden Stones village felt his arm a little numb, and when he looked up at Naruto in front of him, his expression was very alert. This kid is as strong as a monster. Uncle from Hidden Stones village, you're pretty good. Naruto grinned. Do you want to join the Whitebeard Pirates and become one of us? He actually tried to recruit for the Whitebeard Pirates at this time. The Jonin from Hidden Stones village gritted his teeth. Kid. Don't insult me. On the right side of Naruto, about tens of meters away, Haku and Karen advanced hand in hand. The two cooperated very tacitly, and in the blink of an eye, they killed two Hidden Stones village ninjas who wanted to rush towards Moby Dick. Haku slapped the ground with both palms and shouted in a low voice, ice style, cold dragon spear. One by one, large ice spikes rose from the ground, and on the spot, two more genin from Hidden Stones village were stabbed into blood gourds. Karen, on the other hand, rushed up to fight in close combat with a kunai in one hand. Pirate kid. Go to hell. Suddenly, an Hidden Stones village ninja swung his ninja sword, trying to slash at Karen's head. At this time, no one would pity a child's life. Moreover, in the eyes of Hidden Stones village ninja, Karen is an evil pirate. At a critical moment, Karen raised her hand to block with a kunai. Just a little effort, and she pushed the other party to stumble. The Hidden Stones village ninja was stunned. How is this kid so strong? He didn't know that Karen's training difficulty was only slightly less than Naruto's. Karen's strength is not much less than Naruto's. And his moment of distraction is enough to cost him his life. Puff. The Hidden Stones village ninja felt a pain in his heart, and when he reacted, he found that the kid in front of him was gone, and his chest was stabbed with a kunai. He turned his head in astonishment and found that Karen was already killing another Hidden Stones village ninja. At the same time, under the stern of Moby Dick. What kind of monster are you, kid? An Hidden Stones village ninja, clutching his wound, stared incredulously at Kimimaro, whose bones were all exposed. Kimimaro expressionless, the bone knife stabbed into the other's abdomen, the second one. Facing one Hidden Stones village ninja after another rushing towards him with ninja swords, Kimimaro's eyes finally flashed with excitement. Come on. The more the better. On the ship. Shikamaru swallowed nervously. Do you want me and Chaji to go down and fight with you? Ino nodded heavily. Yes, I believe our Inoshikacho trio can definitely play a big role. Shikamaru was sweating profusely. Hey, we might die if we keep going like this. We're only 7 or 8 years old. But Ino didn't listen. She grabbed the bewildered Shikamaru with one hand and the trembling Chaji with the other, and directly dragged them down to the ship. Ino was in a hurry. Don't worry about so much. Haku is being besieged by Hidden Stones village ninja. Let's go help him. Hinata also hurriedly followed. Ino, wait for me. Lee turned to look at the pale Sakura. He said seriously, Sakura, I'm going down too. Although I know I might drag them down, I can't just stand by and watch my comrades fight. Sakura watched as Lee also hurriedly followed. She wanted to say something, but couldn't speak. The only peers left on the ship were Sakura and Fu. One was too weak, the other was not enough with the tailed beast. Izumi Uchiha also did not participate in the battle. Because she was commanding the survivors of the Uchiha clan, controlling the cannons on the ship. Calibrate. Aim at the Hidden Stones village ninja behind, confirm the specific bomb drop position, and then fire directly. Izumi Uchiha commanded. Many of these survivors of the Uchiha clan are ordinary people. They definitely can't go down to fight, although it's not much different from suicide. But she still can let them control these cannons. Chapter 310, 2 Susanoo on the battlefield. There are so many people. Kakashi stood on the Moby Dick, looking at one Hidden Stones village ninja after another in front of him. His gaze passed over one person after another, finally landing on a very tall man in the distance. That person has a layer of tailed beast chakra coat on his body. If I'm not mistaken, he should be the Five Tails Jinchuriki. Kakashi's eyes narrowed slightly. At this time, he no longer needed to cover his Sharingan with his forehead protector, because both his eyes were already Sharingan. Pops, I'll go catch him. Kakashi decided to catch the king first. He wanted to go straight to catch the Jinchuriki. After all, the entanglement between the pirate group and Hidden Stones village is actually unnecessary. As long as the Jinchuriki is caught, the war is over. Gorara. Go. Whitebeard grinned. Don't embarrass me. Kakashi's dead fish eyes became a bit serious. I will never embarrass you and the Whitebeard pirate group. Whoosh. Kakashi's figure disappeared in an instant. When Kakashi appeared again, he had already landed on the battlefield below. A group of Hidden Stones village ninjas saw Kakashi appear, and wanted to immediately surround and kill him. It's Kakashi of the Sharingan. A rock-hidden Jonin shouted, everyone go together, get rid of this guy first. Don't damage his eyes. Obviously, Hidden Stones Village also wanted to get the Sharingan. If it were before, Kakashi would definitely feel that his life was not long if so many ninjas surrounded him. But now, Kakashi can calmly say, if you guys can stop me so easily, how can I qualify to be a division captain of the Whitebeard Pirates? Yes, Kakashi, with his standalone strength, has now become an official team captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. He is the captain of the second team of the Whitebeard Pirates. Juki, give me a hand. Got it. The power from the tailed beast surged into Kakashi's body in an instant, and a layer of tailed beast chakra cloak once again enveloped Kakashi's body. Kakashi's eyes narrowed, his right hand holding a dazzling lightning, Rikiri. Facing one Hidden Stones Village ninja after another, Kakashi held the Rai Hidden Mist Village and charged straight ahead. The Rai Hidden Mist Village in his hand, under the blessing of the tailed beast chakra, was much larger than the previous Rikiri. Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall. Dozens of Hidden Stones Village ninjas immediately used ninjutsu at the same time, trying to block Kakashi's attack. But what they didn't expect was that Kakashi's strength far exceeded their imagination. The Rai Hidden Mist Village easily shattered the huge Earth Flow Wall, and instantly penetrated a whole row of Hidden Stones Village ninjas. In an instant, more than a dozen Hidden Stones Village ninjas died in Kakashi's hands. Their deaths were all very consistent, most of their bodies were erased, that was hit by the Rikiri. Kakashi, who broke out of the encirclement, rushed towards Han without hesitation. And Kakashi's move also caught the attention of many Hidden Stones Village ninjas. This guy wants to attack our Jinchuriki. Immediately, some Hidden Stones Village ninjas guessed what Kakashi wanted to do. Damn pirates, daring to break away from their companions alone, and wanting to deal with our Jinchuriki alone, it's simply audacious. Just when some ninjas wanted to gather more people to stop Kakashi, Han suddenly took a step forward. Let me meet this guy. Kakashi of the Sharingan from Hidden Leaf Village is a famous figure. Looking at the tailed beast cloak on Kakashi's body from a distance, Han squinted his eyes. Kakuo, is he the one who fired that tailed beast bomb? Is Kakashi of the Sharingan also a Jinchuriki? That's unexpected. Oinaki, the third Sushi Kage, reminded him from the side. Han, be careful. Yes, Sushi Kage-sama. Han slightly bent his legs and slowly uttered 4 words, steam emission. Bang. A hot steam burst out from his feet, and the ground under his feet instantly shattered. The speed was so fast that it raised a gust of wind, blowing Oinaki's clothes rustling. At the same time, Kakashi's Sharingan caught a fast-moving red figure approaching him at high speed. This guy is so fast. Kakashi's pupils shrank, but luckily the dynamic vision of the Sharingan was not weak. Kakashi quickly stopped and hurriedly dodged to the side. The next second, a heavy punch brushed past his cheek. The steam wrapped around the heavy punch made Kakashi's cheeks turn red. Kakashi watched as the punch landed on the ground behind him, and a pit with a diameter of more than 10 meters was punched out on the spot. With a bang, rocks flew up. Kakashi looked back and saw a man over 2 meters tall standing behind him, his body covered with a tail beast chakra cloak. Are you 5 Tails Jinchuriki? Han? Kakashi asked. Kakashi of the Sharingan, I've heard a lot about you. Han didn't directly answer Kakashi's question, but what he said was an acknowledgement of his identity. Han asked without any fluctuation in his eyes. I haven't heard that you are a Jinchuriki? Kakashi casually responded. That's because I became a Jinchuriki not long ago. Han nodded in understanding. I see. Kakashi looked up at Han and said. If you are willing to join the Whitebeard Pirates, perhaps this war can end peacefully, and a good relationship will be established between the Whitebeard Pirates and Hidden Stones Village. Han said without surprise. I'm afraid Sushi Kage-sama won't agree. Sushi Kage-sama's will is my will. It seems that being soft won't work. Kakashi said seriously. Then let me see the power of the 5 Tails Jinchuriki. As soon as these words fell, both sides almost simultaneously took action. Boyle style, unrivaled strength. Han, who was tall, spewed a large amount of steam from his body and kicked directly at Kakashi. This kick, before it even landed on Kakashi, had already set off layers of air waves. Kakashi did not doubt the other's strength. But Kakashi was not afraid at all. Kami. Kakashi's body instantly became ethereal, and Han's kick passed through his body, as if he had kicked into the air. This sudden strange situation made Han stunned. When Kakashi passed through Han and got behind him, he was already holding the Rai Hidden Mist Village in his hand. Kakashi quickly turned around and stabbed a palm towards the back. Rikiri. With one blow, Han couldn't dodge at all. The tailed beast cloak was shattered by the Rikiri, and the thick red armor he was wearing was also pierced with a large hole. But at this critical moment, 5 tails suddenly drilled out from behind Han and tightly bound Kakashi's body. So that Kakashi's Rai Hidden Mist Village could not advance an inch. Obviously, this was the five tails inside Han who took action in time and saved Han. On the other side, Shizue and Kitsuchi were confronting each other. Shizue of the body flicker from Hidden Leaf Village, I've heard a lot about you. Kitsuchi looked similar to Oanaki, but he was much taller. He was looking at Shizue's eyes, and then he couldn't help but wonder. Why are your Sharingan gone? Shizue slowly pulled out his staff sword, and calmly replied. I temporarily put them somewhere else for safekeeping, but one day, I will retrieve them. The two seemed to have a very tacit understanding. As soon as Shizue's voice fell, the two sides collided instantly. Shizue's staff sword wiped towards Kitsuchi's throat. Kitsuchi reacted quickly. His right fist was wrapped in a layer of solid rock, and he punched towards Shizue's staff sword. After a round of power struggle between the two, it was Shizue who fell below. Shizue was punched and flew out by Kitsuchi. But Shizue's movements were not awkward, he landed steadily a dozen meters away, feeling a bit numb in his tiger's mouth and murmured. Such a great strength. Almost broke my sword. The next second, the tall Kitsuchi once again rushed towards Shizue, raising his fists and smashing towards Shizue again. Shizue chose not to dodge. When the opponent's fist was less than a meter away from him, suddenly a layer of green skeleton appeared in front of Shizue. The skeleton was like a sturdy shield blocking the front. Bang! Kitsuchi's brute strength made the skeletal frame tremble, but the defense of the skeleton was very high and was not broken by the opponent's punch. What is this? Kitsuchi's pupils shrank, realizing that something was not quite right. The next second, two skeletal hands slapped towards Kitsuchi from both sides. Kitsuchi was greatly shocked. He quickly dodged backward. When he distanced himself from Shizue, he finally saw clearly what the green skeleton that appeared was. In his line of sight, a green skeleton frame about 10 meters high completely enveloped Shizue. Susanoo. Shizue slowly uttered a term, and there was a surge of tailed beast chakra on his body. This very unique tailed beast chakra of Shizue made Kitsuchi's eyes widen. The chakra of the four tails? There's a flaw. Attack together. Suddenly, a group of Hidden Stones village ninjas attacked from behind Shizue. This is war, this is a battlefield of great scale, no one would choose one-on-one. But those who have never seen Susanoo obviously underestimated this technique. Under Shizue's control, Susanoo just waved its two skeletal hands and slapped dozens of Hidden Stones village ninja flying. They were hit so hard that their bones were broken, they vomited blood, and their bodies exploded like mosquitoes that were hit. This is not Shizue's complete Susanoo. Shizue took a deep breath, the tailed beast chakra on his body surged even more, and a layer of tailed beast coat was formed on his body. The Susanoo he used was also visibly growing larger. From 10 meters high, it became several tens of meters high. From the appearance of a skeleton frame, it became flesh and blood, and even put on a suit of armor. The eerie green Susanoo finally grew to a height of 50 meters, its body was covered with a very mighty samurai armor, and a pair of huge wings appeared behind it. The right hand of Susanoo is a special weapon similar to a drill bit. The blessing of the tailed beast's power can't fully activate Susanoo. It seems that being able to have this momentum without eyes is the limit. To truly activate the complete Susanoo, you still need two Mangekyo. Shizue's entire person was floating on the forehead of Susanoo, and the Susanoo, which was tens of meters high, overlooked the entire battlefield. This incredible scene, this outrageously large green monster, made a group of Hidden Stones village ninjas stunned. They didn't know what this was, and they had never seen such a monster. Only the oldest Oanaki, his eyes suddenly widened, looking at Susanoo incredulously. This is the Uchiha clans. Oanaki, who has seen a lot, suddenly remembered what this was. Unfortunately, it was too late, he didn't even have time to warn the ninjas in the village. With Susanoo's weapon swinging towards the front, a strong shockwave rushed forward, and the bodies of one ninja after another exploded where it passed. Even the ground underfoot was easily plowed out, a huge trench that was hundreds of meters long, tens of meters wide, and more than 10 meters deep. Kitsuchi wiped the bloodstains on his face with lingering fear. It was good that he dodged quickly just now, otherwise, he would have died in Shizue's hands. What the hell is this thing? Not far away, Kakashi could also see Shizue's Susanoo, because the momentum of this technique was too great. Kakashi first repelled Han. He said to himself, it seems that Shizue wants to end the fight quickly. Indeed, if they continue to fight with them, Hidden Stones village may lose more people. Rather, it's a quick resolution to the battle, so that Hidden Stones village can save more people. I didn't expect you to actually consider the enemy. Shizue, you really are something. Kakashi's words had no sarcasm, but rather some admiration for Shizue's kindness. No wonder Shizue is known as the most special Uchiha in recent decades. His character is not much like that of the Uchiha clan. In that case, he might as well join in the fun. Kakashi's eyes focused, and the patterns of the 2-3 Tomoe Sharingan began to change, gradually turning into 2 Mangekyo Sharingan. With the tailed beast chakra on his body, Kakashi's Susanoo was activated instantly. Susanoo. Kakashi directly used the complete form of Susanoo, a huge blue giant over 100 meters high, appeared on the battlefield. The Susanoo that Kakashi used was the real complete form. This sudden change left Han, who was fighting Kakashi, stunned. Another monster. The Hidden Stones village ninjas exclaimed in shock. This monster seems even bigger, it must be 100 meters tall. Ninjutsu has no effect on them at all, and can't even break their defense. What is this thing? What is this ninjutsu? In the distance, Oinaki was completely stunned. He looked at Kakashi's summoned Susanoo in disbelief. The second Susanoo? How many people from the Uchiha clan are there in the Whitebeard Pirates? How much power does the Whitebeard Pirates have? The situation seems to have completely escaped his control. Chapter 311, Susanoo Tailed Beast. Bloodshed Elimination. Whitebeard joins the battle. When the Whitebeard Pirates were almost at full firepower, tens of thousands of Hidden Stones village ninjas felt a faint sense of being unable to hold on. Especially since the Whitebeard Pirates had 2 Susanoo, plus Kisame, a sea-release level water-style ninja. Every move they made was a large-scale attack. In this situation, the tactic of overwhelming numbers is of limited use. With Shijue's Susanoo stepping forward, although the group of Hidden Stones village ninjas under his feet dodged in time, the shockwave caused by this step still knocked them flying. On Hidden Stones village Jonin gritted his teeth, quickly formed hand seals and shouted angrily, Earth-style, super-weighted rock fist. His arms began to form 2 huge fists made of rock, and quickly charged towards Shijue's Susanoo. This Hidden Stones village Jonin jumped high, and slammed 2 fists into the lower abdomen of Susanoo. This was already the highest position he could jump to. As a result, when he hit with all his might, Shijue's Susanoo just paused slightly. The next second, Susanoo's big hand suddenly reached out towards this Hidden Stones village Jonin. Susanoo's speed was so fast that he couldn't dodge it at all. The Hidden Stones village Jonin was caught by Shijue on the spot. Sensing the anger of this Hidden Stones village Jonin with his observation haki, Shijue said flatly, sorry, it might hurt a bit. As soon as the words fell, there was a pop. The Hidden Stones village Jonin held in the palm of Susanoo's hand turned into a cloud of blood on the spot. The battle on Kakashi's side was also one-sided. Even Han, who was a Jinchuriki, could only dodge Susanoo's attack in a panic. Han's body was surrounded by a large amount of steam, and he constantly accelerated his speed with the help of boil style, a KK Genkai, to dodge quickly. His appearance was not ordinary, completely devoid of the grace of a Jinchuriki. Kakuo, if we don't fully transform into a tailed beast, we will all killed by him. While Han was panting slightly, he was negotiating with the 5 tails Kakuo inside his body. The 5 tails Kakuo thought for a moment and said, okay. As it uttered this word, a large amount of tailed beast chakra rushed into Han's body. The changes in his body made Han's body stop for a moment, his muscles were all twisting in a strange tremor, and he let out a scream or roar from his mouth, hey ah ah ah. Rolling steam spread in all directions, even the nearby Hidden Stones village ninjas were affected. The scorching steam made them hurry away from Han. And when they locked their eyes on Han, they could see that Han's body was constantly swelling, and his body was undergoing a very earth-shaking change. Han was transforming from a human form into a tailed beast form. The 5 tails Kakuo appeared. This is a very large tailed beast. In its fully transformed form, it is only a few heads shorter than Kakashi's Susanoo. Its special body looks like a special beast combined with a white dolphin and a white horse. There are several very hard horns on top of its head, and that big white face looks a bit silly. Kakashi has seen many full-bodied tailed beasts, even the good-tempered 2 tails, which looks quite fierce. This is the first time he has seen a tailed beast that looks so silly. Of course. Kakashi knows more about the power and danger of the tailed beast, and he can't judge it by its appearance. Damn it. Seeing those horns on its head, it really makes me feel very upset. Juki was cursing in Kakashi's body. Because its 2 horns, one was broken by Raikage, and the other was broken by Whitebeard. Now seeing the 5 tails Kakuo, with so many horns on its head, Juki felt a bit unbalanced, and it also came up with a strange idea. Hey, kid. Juki suddenly said to Kakashi. Let me out. Let me out. Kakashi was stunned. Ah. Juki shouted. Ah, what? Why are you so hesitant? Do you deserve to be called a pirate like this? Kid, let your uncle Juki teach you a fun trick. Kakashi was thinking, would it be a problem to let Juki out? After all, Juki was beaten by Pops a while ago, what if Juki wants to betray the Whitebeard pirates then? But after thinking about it, Kakashi still decided to trust Juki once. A tail beast with the same hobby as him, There must not be so many hearts, right? Okay. Kakashi took a deep breath. This was the first time he tried to fully transform into a tailed beast since he became a Jinchuriki. And the first attempt was on such an intense battlefield, even Kakashi admired his courage. The chakra from the 8 tails Juki had completely wrapped Kakashi's entire body, and even the chakra spread along Kakashi to Susanoo. Like Han, Kakashi's body was also transforming from a human form into a tailed beast form. What was surprising was, his Susanoo did not disappear because of this. Juki's body was actually bound in Susanoo's armor. Pieces of sturdy Susanoo armor appeared on Juki's body, and when Juki's huge body was fully presented, its body was still covered with a layer of thick armor. Juki, who had broken 2 horns, roared wildly at the sky, roar 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 roar. The next moment, it gradually focused its gaze on the 5 tails Kakuo in front. Juki grinned. Long time no see, Kakuo, don't you want me to say hello? Kakuo stared blankly at the Susanoo on Juki, and after a moment, it said to Han's consciousness, your village is probably in danger. Kakuo continued, the last person who used Susanoo to fight the tailed beast was Madara Uchiha. Human, I can only barely drag Juki, I don't know how long I can hold on. As soon as the words fell, Kakuo directly charged towards Juki. Juki was also not polite, even though a pair of bull horns had already broken, but it had a layer of Susanoo on its body, it also fearlessly bumped into Kakuo. Boom. The violent collision of the 2 huge bodies, they didn't know if they were okay, but a group of Hidden Stones village ninja nearby suffered a great disaster. Within a radius of hundreds of meters of the 2-tailed beasts, anyone who dared to approach would be affected by their battle. This scene, like a fight between immortals, left some Hidden Clouds village ninjas stunned. Most of them are Chunin or Genin level ninjas, and some of them have not participated in the 3rd Ninja War. Where have they seen such a big scene in their lives? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 tails, isn't his the 8 tails? The rumor that the Whitebeard pirates hunt tailed beasts is actually true. Did the 8 tails Jinchuriki of Hidden Clouds village already die in the hands of the Whitebeard pirates? What are these monsters? Tailed beasts are monsters, Jinchuriki are also monsters, how can humans possibly be opponents of these monsters? Such big-tailed beasts, they must be over 100 meters tall, right? Panic began to spread among a group of Hidden Stones village ninjas. Facing the existence of tailed beasts and Susanoo, any ninja with a normal brain would feel powerless. Matatabi, can we also become like that? Sasuke, after kicking an Hidden Stones village Chunin, suddenly felt eager to try. Matatabi decisively dismissed his idea, no, you're still too young. Although your body far exceeds your peers, even some adults, it's still too weak. If I use your body to fully transform into a tailed beast, you will be in danger. Matatabi might also be one of the few tailed beasts that would consider for Jinchuriki. Uncle Kakashi has become more powerful. Susanoo can actually be put on the tailed beast, it looks so cool. Naruto's eyes were shining. Only Kurama in his body was dark, damn it. Who is Juki implying? The last one to be covered by Susanoo was Kurama, and it was also covered by Madara Uchiha's Susanoo and fought against Senju Hashirama. For Kurama, this is a black history that it doesn't want to recall. If it had hammered Senju Hashirama on the ground at the beginning, that would have been fine. The key is, at the beginning, it and Madara Uchiha together were not Senju Hashirama's opponents. Kurama seriously suspected that Juki did it on purpose. Gorara. Interesting. Whitebeard could feel Kakashi's strength change the most, his smile on his face became thicker, my stupid son is getting more and more promising. On the other side, Oinaki realized that if he continued to sit here, their Hidden Stones village would be defeated. Oinaki originally thought that he would be the last one. As long as that man Whitebeard was ready to make a move himself, he would immediately step in to stop Whitebeard. He would stake his old life to block Whitebeard. But what Oinaki didn't expect was that even before Whitebeard made a move, the other members of the Whitebeard pirates had already forced him to act. Whitebeard pirates. Oinaki took a deep breath. I have tried my best to imagine how strong you guys are, but I didn't expect that I still underestimated you. No wonder you were able to take down Hidden Clouds village in one day. Although he was murmuring this in his mouth, there was no sign of retreat in Oinaki's eyes. Hidden Stones village, fight to the death. Oinaki shouted angrily, all Anbu. Fight with me. Oinaki first set his sights on Shizue Uchiha. Although Kakashi's momentum was the most massive, there was Han holding him back for the time being. And no one could stop Shizue Uchiha on his side. Even his son Kitsuchi, in front of Shizue's Susanoo, could only keep retreating and avoiding, not daring to clash hard with Susanoo. Earth-style, atomic dismantling. Oinaki, protected by a group of Anbu ninjas, quickly approached Shizue, and he slapped the ground heavily with his hoarse voice. The ground under Shizue's Susanoo suddenly sank, and the huge Susanoo fell into a square pit on the spot. Only the head of the dark green Susanoo was exposed outside. Shizue could feel a strong aura approaching him. He also realized that he was being targeted. We need to end the battle quickly. This old bone of mine can't mess with these young pirates. Dust style, particle style. Oanaki spread his hands, and a semi-transparent white cone slowly emerged between his palms. At the same time, Shizue felt a familiar sense of crisis. Danger. A deadly danger is approaching. At the critical moment, observation hockey played a great role. Shizue decisively controlled Susanoo to jump up, trying to leave this big pit. Whoosh, a beam of white light from particle style arrived in the blink of an eye, and accurately hit the two legs of Susanoo. Shizue was suddenly startled. The lower limbs of Susanoo are being disintegrated? This strange ninjutsu, could it be the particle style of the third Sushi Kage? The Susanoo, which all the Hidden Stones village ninjas could not break through with all kinds of methods, was actually cut off two legs by Oanaki's particle style. The two legs of the dark green Susanoo seemed to be completely erased. Huh. Oanaki exhaled heavily. He frowned and looked at the half of Susanoo flying in midair with flapping wings. Was it reacted? Such a fast attack can be reacted? This is more like knowing in advance. Experienced Oanaki immediately realized how Shizue avoided his attack. It's Sushi Kage-sama. It's Sushi Kage-sama who made the move. He cut off the two legs of Shizue of the body flicker in one move. It has to be Sushi Kage-sama. The third Sushi Kage's shot also made a group of powerless Hidden Stones village ninja cheer up again. Don't underestimate the enemy. Oanaki shouted. Follow me, let's drive these evil pirates out of our homeland. A sense of dread filled Shizue's heart. This is troublesome. The particle style of the third Sushi Kage, Oanaki, is a secret technique that is said to be untouchable. It's rumored. This is a KK Toda above the KK Genkai. Gorara, so this is particle style? Quite a formidable ability, no wonder those foolish sons discussed this Oanaki fellow before the battle. Whitebeard, aboard the Moby Dick, squinted his eyes. This extremely peculiar ability indeed should not be touched casually. Gorara. Since this old fellow has come out to bully the kids, I should also get moving. Whitebeard decided to take action. His hands were itching. Whoosh. A gust of wind suddenly emerged on the deck of the Moby Dick, and when the wind dissipated, Whitebeard's figure had disappeared. Only two deep footprints remained on the deck. At this time, many Hidden Stones village ninjas were still observing Whitebeard's movements in secret. When they were shocked to find that Whitebeard had suddenly disappeared, they hurriedly informed the group of ninjas from the same village around them. Be careful. Everyone be careful. Whitebeard is gone. Whitebeard is about to take action. The most ferocious pirate in the ninja world. The most brutal wanted criminal in the ninja world. Is about to join the battle. Wait. He is above. Whitebeard is in the sky. As such shouts fell, everyone looked up in unison. In midair, it was indeed the figure of Whitebeard holding a knife. Chapter 312, The Power to Shake Space, Can You Dissolve It? Whitebeard. Oanaki looked up at the figure in the sky 100 meters high. Realizing that Whitebeard might take action, Oanaki suddenly had a very bad premonition. He watched as Whitebeard's body fell from 100 meters high in the sky and finally landed in the center of the battlefield. Accompanied by a thud, the center of the battlefield was trampled into a pit with a diameter of more than 10 meters by Whitebeard's feet. The next second, a hearty laughter echoed throughout the battlefield. Gorara. Whitebeard, holding more Akamagiri, looked around at one Hidden Stones village ninja after another. Finally, his gaze passed over everyone and fell on Oanaki. Whitebeard's gaze collided with Oanaki's in midair, causing Oanaki to be suddenly startled. Don't miss this opportunity. Oanaki swept away the palpitations in his heart. He immediately shouted. Surround Whitebeard. As long as we can defeat Whitebeard, Hidden Stones village will win in this war. The order from the third Sushi Kage made the stunned ninjas of Hidden Stones village react immediately. They looked at Whitebeard's tall and burly body, and one by one, they gritted their teeth and killed towards Whitebeard, trying to capture the king first to capture the thief. The number of Hidden Stones village ninjas who went to surround Whitebeard reached thousands, equivalent to half of the forces of Hidden Stones village rushing towards Whitebeard. It goes without saying that none of them dared to underestimate Whitebeard. They all regarded Whitebeard as the strongest opponent they had ever encountered in their lives. After all, Whitebeard's achievements are not just bragging. Kakashi Hatake, Shizue Uchiha, Hashigaki Kisame. These people are quite powerful, right? They are wreaking havoc on the battlefield. But these powerful people can only be in Whitebeard's pirate group, honestly being Whitebeard's subordinates. This shows that Whitebeard is even more powerful than them. Gorara. There are so many people. Unfortunately, it's useless. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed slightly, and with the smile on his face becoming extremely rampant and domineering, a visible conqueror's haki rushed out and spread rapidly in all directions. The conqueror's haki covered an area of several kilometers in the blink of an eye, like a shock wave, and enveloped the entire battlefield in an instant. Visible black arcs in the air are constantly flashing, and gusts of wind are constantly howling. Thousands of ninjas from Hidden Stone's village who were killing towards Whitebeard, at this moment, they all stopped unanimously. The entire battlefield scene, as if Whitebeard had pressed the pause button. Under the wash of conqueror's haki, their spirits and consciousness received an unprecedented impact. Especially those gained in from Hidden Stone's village, they can't hold on for even half a second. They immediately rolled their eyes, foamed at the mouth, and were directly stunned by the conqueror's haki, and fell heavily to the ground. The Chunin of Hidden Stone's village are no exception. They just held on for 2 seconds more than those Gainin, and after 2 seconds they all fell to the ground and fainted. Looking around, the ninjas lying on the ground are like rice or wheat harvested in the autumn season. In just a few seconds, more than 12,000 ninjas from Hidden Stone's village, more than 11,000 people fainted on the spot. All were stunned by the conqueror's haki erupted by Whitebeard. Now there are only a few hundred ninjas who can still stand. Among them, some are special Jonin from Hidden Stone's village, and some are elite Jonin from Hidden Stone's village. Of course, Oinaki, the current Sushi Kage of Hidden Stone's village, is naturally among them. The battlefield, which was originally very noisy and full of killing shouts, became dead silent. The atmosphere on the scene has quieted down to the point where even the sound of cold sweat dripping on the ground can be clearly heard. Kitsuchi, the son of Oinaki, is sweating profusely at this moment, half of which is shaken out by the conqueror's haki, and the other half is scared out by the incredible scene before him. Kitsuchi no longer cares about Kakashi who is close with him, let alone Kakashi's huge Susanoo. He is stiffly turning his head to look in the direction of Whitebeard. His lips want to say something, but he can't say a word for a long time. Kitsuchi is also a strong man over 2 meters tall. With his height, he can clearly see the current situation. He even suspects that he has been hit by Kakashi of the Sharingan's Ganjutsu. What did he see? Whitebeard just burst out a little momentum, and almost all the people in Hidden Stone's village were stunned. What's the situation with this terrifying momentum? Is this Whitebeard? The 2-tailed beasts that were fighting also stopped at this moment. The 5 tails Kakuo's side also fell on Whitebeard. It was also shocked by the conqueror's haki erupted by Whitebeard. This is a kind of momentum. Aura? It felt as if a massive stone weighing thousands of pounds had been placed on Kakuo's heart. It found itself, a tailed beast, being affected by Whitebeard's aura. It also saw a large number of ninjas from Hidden Stone's village fall. Kakuo was silent for a moment. It didn't know how to evaluate this strange power. It could only say to Han, that human, has a power stronger than a single-tailed beast. Juki was also watching Whitebeard. Its big eyes were full of lingering fear. This guy has made his move. Juki had been beaten by Whitebeard, and it was beaten very badly at that time. Its only horn was also broken by Whitebeard. Pop's conqueror's haki. No matter how many times I see it, it's always so shocking. Kakashi, standing on Susanoo's forehead, could see the changes in the battlefield more clearly. In an instant, tens of thousands of Hidden Stone's village ninjas all fell down. In the entire shinobi world, only Pops has this kind of power, right? Hey, consider yourselves lucky. Sasuke glanced at the group of people who had fallen in front of him. He was not the kind of person who liked to take advantage of others' danger. Since the enemy had already fallen and passed out, he didn't bother to finish them off. Gulp. Shikamaru, who was forcibly pulled into the battlefield by Ino and then chased around by a group of Hidden Stone's village ninjas, couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva in his ragged state. Shikamaru muttered to himself, this power seems to be precisely controlled by Whitebeard. Because I was not stunned by this power, but these enemies were. If there really is an invincible person in the shinobi world, then Shikamaru thinks, this person can only be Whitebeard, right? Naruto, with his hands in his pockets and a relaxed posture, grinned at a Jonin from Hidden Stone's village. It seems that we can't tell the winner between the two of us. But between our Whitebeard pirate crew and your Hidden Stone's village, the winner has already been decided. The Jonin from Hidden Stone's village, sweating profusely, spoke with a somewhat dry voice. What is this ninjutsu? This is not ninjutsu, this is a power stronger than ninjutsu. This is Pop's Conqueror's haki. Naruto laughed very frankly. Conqueror's haki. This was the first time the Jonin from Hidden Stone's village had heard this term. This 10 million ryo was quite easy to earn. Tsunade raised her eyebrows. Of the hundreds of Hidden Stone's village ninjas who besieged her, Now only a handful of 10 or so people could still stand. And among those 10 or so people, only 2 still had the power to fight. The rest were all scared to the point of their legs going soft by the conqueror's hockey. TSK, it's really exaggerated. Tsunade looked at Whitebeard in the distance. This old man, he really knows how to make a mess. On the Moby Dick. Conan took all of this in. Just a moment can change the course of a war. This power is not weaker than Nagato's eyes, right? Conan took a deep breath. Her mood was somewhat heavy. Did Pops do this? Pops is so amazing. Fu's face was full of astonished expressions. Her big glasses seemed to be about to shine. The admiration in her eyes couldn't be hidden at all. And she didn't want to hide it. Izumi Uchiha said to the Uchiha clan, "Stop the bombardment. The war is over." Hee. Conqueror's hockey, it's a really useful ability. Orochimaru licked his lips. How many more surprises do you have, Whitebeard? Although Sakura was not affected by the Conqueror's hockey. But she was also scared to the point of sitting on the ground by the scene in front of her. She was dumbfounded at this moment. Everything that happened today was constantly refreshing her understanding of the word power. Sakura originally thought that the teachers in the ninja school were already very powerful. Who would have thought? There are still so many formidable people in this world. Especially that Whitebeard. On the other side, feeling the pressure in his heart and looking at the scene before him, Owanaki fell completely silent. He has never underestimated Whitebeard. Nor has he ever looked down on pirates. Otherwise, he wouldn't have mobilized the entire village's power to try to block the invasion of the Whitebeard pirates. But the power that Whitebeard is showing now far exceeds his expectations and his imagination. Owanaki was a bit confused. Why did such a monster appear in the ninja world again? Whitebeard's power reminded him of 2 men. One is called Senju Hashirama. The other is called Madara Uchiha. Perhaps this Whitebeard is a person who stands on the same level as those 2? Sushi Kage-sama. Next to him, an Anbu ninja's voice was trembling. What should we do? Should the war continue? Owanaki glanced at this Anbu, and then at the people who were still standing around. Don't look at the fact that there are still hundreds of people standing, but Owanaki knew. Among those hundreds of people, the real ones who could still pick up weapons and fight, might just be 100 or so people. If tens of thousands of people can't drive the Whitebeard pirates out of Hidden Stone's village together, what use are these hundreds of people? You all stand still. A few layers of gloom appeared on Owanaki's face. His whole person floated up like a weightless feather, and under the puzzled eyes of the Anbu ninjas, he actually drifted towards the direction where Whitebeard was. Whitebeard's landing point was not far from Owanaki's position. Soon, Owanaki was less than 50 meters away from Whitebeard. Owanaki stopped, he just floated quietly. His line of sight was exactly aligned with Whitebeard's. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr the Whitebeard pirates, that's not enough. If you really want to stop us, go find 100,000 Marines, plus 3 Marine Admirals. Marine Admirals? Owanaki didn't know which navy in the ninja world had such strong power to stop the Whitebeard pirates. At this moment, he was too lazy to think so much, because the current bat situation didn't give him time to think more. Owanaki took a deep breath. He couldn't let the village fall into the hands of pirates, even if the current situation of the war was indeed that Hidden Stones village had lost. The expression on Owanaki's face became serious. He decided to go all out, and said to Whitebeard. Whitebeard. I am the third Sushi Kage Owanaki of Hidden Stones village. I carry the burden of protecting the village on my shoulders. If you want to set foot in Hidden Stones village, you have to step over my corpse. He did not become weak because of the change in the battlefield situation. If you are truly a hero of a ninja world, then accept the challenge of this old fellow who has one foot in the coffin. Owanaki gritted his teeth and said. If you fall into my hands, whether or not you have been killed by me, your Whitebeard pirates must immediately retreat. If I lose to you, then you pirates, just step on my corpse and enter Hidden Stones village. Many people heard Owanaki's voice. Those Hidden Stones village ninja who are still conscious all understand what the third Sushi Kage-sama wants to do. Sushi Kage-sama wants to use his own life to seek a moment of peace for Hidden Stones village. That is to say, Sushi Kage-sama has decided to fight Whitebeard to the death. But will the pirates agree to such a challenge? Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr admire. Whitebeard, holding more akamagiri, grinned and said, "It seems that you have made up your mind to die. Then I will accept your challenge." Gorurura. There are still men in the ninja world. Whitebeard appreciates this approach. He agreed. Owanaki breathed a sigh of relief. He has decided that even if he has to lose his old life, he must knock down Whitebeard with his own life. He can save the village by defeating Whitebeard. Owanaki took out the Hidden Stones village forehead protector and put it on his forehead. The expression on his face quickly became extremely serious and solemn. Looking at Whitebeard in the distance, Owanaki decisively made a move. He opened his mouth and shouted, "Particle style, dust style, atomic dismantling jutsu." This is Owanaki's strongest bloodline limit. A white cube has appeared in the palm of his hands. At the same time, a white light also appeared on the blade of Murakamagi-ri in Whitebeard's hand. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr No. Whitebeard's eyes flashed with cold light. Can you disintegrate the vibrating space? The moment Whitebeard's voice fell, the attacks of both sides fell at the same time. Just see a huge cube quickly surge towards Whitebeard. The closer it got to Whitebeard, the bigger it became. As if it wanted to swallow Whitebeard. But Whitebeard chose not to dodge or avoid. He also slashed forward with a naginata carrying the power of the tremor fruit. The unparalleled power of vibration instantly shook the space in all directions. The space within the coverage of the fruit power. All completely solidified. Chapter 313, Hidden Stones Village Defeated. Victory of the Whitebeard Pirates. Oanaki has never seen the scene before him in his half-life. The scenes he can see with his eyes are spinning around, and his brain begins to lose his sense of direction. Even the dust-style, atomic dismantling jutsu he used is the same. The ninjutsu he used is not under his control at all, and it is constantly rotating and overturning under the strange vibration force. The space is vibrating. Oanaki immediately understood what was going on. He found that he could not move at this moment. The surrounding space became very solid, and his whole body was like being frozen. The dust-style, atomic dismantling jutsu that surged towards Whitebeard was also at this moment. It was abruptly frozen in place. The constantly vibrating space is disintegrating his bloodline limit. Oanaki's particle style can disintegrate everything in the world, whether it is hard steel or intangible chakra. They cannot escape particle style. But some things that have deviated from the nature of objects, particle style can't do anything about it, such as soul, space, time. The tremor power triggered by Whitebeard was shaking the entire battlefield space, which just happened to restrain his bloodline elimination. Oanaki's Kaketoda couldn't dissolve space. At least at his level, he couldn't. At this moment, Oanaki's eyes were wide open, his face full of incredulous expressions. Before he had time to think more, the crazy rampage from the power of vibration erupted and vented out in this instant. Endless vibrations, not only shaking space, but also shaking all things in the world. First, the ground under his feet began to tremble violently, and then the whole world seemed to be overturned. Oanaki, who was closest to Whitebeard, was the first to bear the brunt and was hit hard. His small body was shaken by the power of vibration on the spot, and all his bones began to break inch by inch. Crack crack crack, Oanaki can heard that series of bone-breaking sounds in his body, and his muscles were also shaking and twisting. The earth began to shatter inch by inch, waves of vibration spread in all directions, even the Hidden Stones village behind was affected by the power of vibration, the whole village was experiencing an earthquake. One by one, houses collapsed, streets began to appear hideous cracks, and other tall stone mountains near Hidden Stones village were also collapsing. All the natural dangers around Hidden Stones village were all leveled. Rolling dust rose hundreds of thousands of meters high, but was quickly dispersed by the power of vibration. One by one, unconscious Hidden Stones village ninjas were blown away by the power of vibration. Even the ninjas who were still awake could not resist the impact of this power. Hitsushi's face changed drastically. He wanted to stretch out his hands to block in front of him, and also wanted to use ninjutsu to increase the defense power of his flesh and blood. But the vibration of space made his whole body immobile. He could only watch with his eyes wide open as a visible wave of vibration, like a landslide and tsunami, pressed towards him. Hitsushi was completely hit by the vibration wave, vomiting blood wildly in midair, and his bones all over his body suffered varying degrees of damage. Oanaki, who challenged Whitebeard, was the most miserable one. Because he was the closest to Whitebeard. Oanaki's small body flew backwards like a cannonball out of its chamber. In midair, whether it was his clothes, hair, or skin, all were shattered by the power of vibration. His short limbs showed a very twisted shape, and his whole person was even rolling his eyes wildly, vomiting mouthfuls of blood as if it didn't cost money. Hideous wounds all over his body were spurting a lot of blood. He smashed one mound after another in succession, and finally crashed heavily into the ground in the distance, smashing out a pit in the ground. And the Kaketoda used by Oanaki, at this moment, was also completely dispersed by the power of the vibration fruit. A dignified Sushi Kage appeared so vulnerable in front of Whitebeard, no matter how admirable his courage to die, he could not avoid the fact that he was much weaker than Whitebeard. If Oanaki was a little younger, maybe 10 or 20 years old, maybe he could hold on for a few rounds in Whitebeard's hands. But he was old, already a remnant of the old era. Not everyone can be like Whitebeard, even if they are remnants of the old era, they can build a new ship with their own hands. Oanaki, who was lying in the pit, didn't know if his will was too firm. He actually forcibly recovered a bit of consciousness. His eyes were staring straight at the blue sky. The clouds thousands of meters high were all shocked by the power of vibration. The scorching sun stung his eyes. I have lost. Hidden Stone's village has lost. Oanaki's entire body was racked with pain that almost made him faint. He didn't know how severe his injuries were, he only knew that his life was not long for this world. Whether he could live for another minute was a luxury. Too strong. So strong that it makes people despair. Oanaki's mouth was full of blood and broken teeth, every word he said was so vague. Has the ninja world welcomed another new god of the ninja world? Even if he staked his life, he couldn't stop Whitebeard, nor could he save Hidden Stone's village. Did Oanaki regret it? No, he didn't. He only knew that he had done his best. As long as he was true to his heart, true to Hidden Stone's village, he could never regret it. Thump. 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 The heavy footsteps accompanied by the sound of the hilt end of Murakamagi lightly hitting the ground echoed vaguely in Oanaki's buzzing ears. Whitebeard, at some point, had walked up to Oanaki. In Whitebeard's line of sight, Oanaki's current state could no longer be called a complete human form. The bodies of the people in the ninja world are really fragile as glass. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr You're a rare tough guy. There aren't many people like you in the ninja world. It would be a pity if you died. How can a man easily accept death when he hasn't protected what he wants to protect? Oanaki, are you interested in helping my Whitebeard pirates manage Hidden Stones village? A question spat out from Whitebeard's mouth made Oanaki, whose consciousness was about to fall into eternal silence, suddenly stunned. Oanaki, like a dying patient sitting up in shock, or like a medical miracle had occurred. He stared incredulously at Whitebeard's exaggerated chin. From his angle, he could indeed only see Whitebeard's chin. Foolish daughter, help him keep his life. The moment Whitebeard's voice fell, a Uzumaki Fa'ashi walked out from behind Whitebeard. Uzumaki Fa'ashi first looked at Oanaki, who was already on a life countdown. She took out a scroll, nodded and said, "All right, Pops." Then, she turned to Oanaki and said, "Sushi Kage Dano, if you still want to protect your village, then please use all your willpower to hold on for another half minute." "Of course, it doesn't matter if you can't hold on." Fa'ashi smiled. "Pops admires you. When the time comes, we can also use summoning, impure world reincarnation to summon you from the underworld." The short war was over. Hidden Stones village chose to go to war with the Whitebeard pirates, and it has been less than half an hour since then. Normally, a war between a ninja village and another force comparable to a ninja village would last for several months, or even several years. But who would have thought that such a large-scale war would end in less than half an hour? The power that the Whitebeard pirates showed, crushing the entire Hidden Stones village, made all the ninjas of Hidden Stones village unable to feel the slightest unwillingness. If you are not as skilled, you have no right to be unwilling. Moreover, the Whitebeard pirates had already given them a chance. If they did not choose to resist, chose to communicate with the Whitebeard pirates in a friendly manner, then today's war would not have happened. After all, as long as you come softly, the Whitebeard pirates are still very easy to talk to. Hidden Waterfall Village is a good example. At this moment, all the Hidden Stones village ninjas who are still conscious can no longer rise any resistance, because resistance is useless. Resistance might only provoke more brutal retaliation from the pirates. Cough. 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 Kitsuchi coughed up a few mouthfuls of fresh blood. He struggled to get up from the ground. "The bones in my body, at least 7 or 8 are broken. The internal organs may also be damaged. It hurts. There is not a single place in my body that does not hurt." He quickly raised his head to look at the messy scene in the distance. The scene, as if countless natural disasters had ravaged at the same time, made Kitsuchi somewhat dazed. Is this really a power that humans can possess? Right. Kitsuchi suddenly reacted. His rugged face showed a bit of anxiety. Father. Father he. Kitsuchi's eyes were red, and his vision became blurred. He didn't want to cry, he wanted to forcibly hold back his tears. But the defeat of the village and the death of his relatives made Kitsuchi unable to hold back. The appearance of a big man with tears streaming down his face is not good looking. Kitsuchi kept wiping the water stains on his face. He couldn't tell whether it was tears or blood. On the other side, Han was silent. He communicated with the Five Tails Kakuo. Kakuo, there is no need to continue. Sushi Kage-sama has lost, which means that Hidden Stones Village has completely lost. Rather than exhausting the last drop of blood, it is better to preserve some vitality for Hidden Stones Village, so that Hidden Stones Village will not be bullied by other ninja villages. Han was also very sad in his heart, but he still forcibly maintained his sanity. He gradually shrank from the fully tailed beast form and returned to the human form. Seeing this, the Eight Tails Chuki, who was also lazy to bully a Jinchuriki without any fighting spirit, retracted back into the ceiling space inside Kakashi. Kakashi also returned to human form. 25 minutes. Conan was silently calculating the time. It only took 20 minutes, without any plan, to destroy Hidden Stones Village with the power advantage. Can Akatsuki do it? Conan took a deep breath, not to mention the Akatsuki organization that is now severely understaffed. Even the Akatsuki organization at its peak, it would be difficult to do. No, strictly speaking, it took less than 5 minutes. Conan suddenly shook her head, a few shocks flashed in her cold eyes like alpine flowers. Because most of enemies were stunned by Whitebeard's Conqueror's Haki. If only the time from Whitebeard's shot to now is calculated, Whitebeard did use less than 5 minutes. Whitebeard. Pirate group. Conan's face was complicated, and the sense of powerlessness that came up made her mind full of thoughts. Akatsuki. In the future, do you really want to treat the Whitebeard pirates as an enemy? Conan couldn't help but have such a doubt. If they really want to do this, will the future of Akatsuki be exactly the same as Hidden Stones Village? Her doubts, no one can answer her for now. As time slowly passed, the villagers hiding in the Hidden Stones Village refuge found that the scary movement outside seemed to stop. Among them, a few bolder people couldn't help but walk out of the refuge, wanting to see what the situation outside was. The moment they just walked out of the refuge, they were stunned by the scene before them. They even doubted whether they had come to a place they didn't know at all. Because the scene they saw in front of them was completely different from the Hidden Stones Village in their impression. Looking around, all were collapsed houses. The mountains that originally wrapped around Hidden Stones Village in the distance have also disappeared, leaving only a large pile of rubble. Thick dust still floats in the air. It makes people can't help but cough repeatedly. What? What on earth is going on? A civilian of Hidden Stones Village swallowed a mouthful of saliva, his face showing a bit of fear and confusion. They tried to move forward in the rubble. Finally, a civilian from Hidden Stones Village climbed to the top of the relatively high pile of rubble. He looked into the distance, and then he saw a scene he would never forget in his life. In his line of sight, the distant battlefield was already a mess. An exaggerated large ship was sailing straight towards Hidden Stones Village, without any hindrance. It felt as if all the defensive lines of Hidden Stones Village had been broken by the Whitebeard pirates. Their village didn't have a single ninja to block the sailing of this ship, and the ship just entered Hidden Stones Village. This scene. It stunned him. What's wrong? What did you see? The group of people below couldn't help but ask him loudly. The person standing on top of the rubble couldn't help but shiver. He showed an expression that was uglier than crying. He said to the people below, Our village seems to have lost the pirates. The pirate ship has sailed directly into the village. A brief sentence plunged all the people present into a deathly silence. The village lost? Hidden Stones Village, one of the 5 major ninja villages. Lost to a group of pirates? Chapter 314, Shaking the Ninja World. Hidden Stones Village's submission. The next day, Hidden Stones Village received a lot of bad news, but also 2 good news. The bad news is naturally that their ninja village was invaded by pirates, and the tens of thousands of ninjas in the village were not the opponents of the pirates. The entire village also suffered unprecedented damage. Most of the houses inside the village have collapsed, basically uninhabitable. The warehouse where the village stored food also collapsed in the strong vibration yesterday, and only 1/10 of the food inside was left. In yesterday's war, the number of ninjas who died in Hidden Stones Village was as many as 821, more than 700 were seriously injured, and even more, there were as many as 2,000 to 3,000 people with minor injuries. Such a casualty situation can be described as a heavy loss for Hidden Stones Village. If it were a small ninja village, this kind of casualty would have wiped out a village. Their village's Jinchuriki Han, for the sake of the overall situation, for the safety of the village, even chose to surrender to the Whitebeard pirates. This time Hidden Stones Village can be described as losing both the lady and the soldiers. Among the 2 pieces of good news in a pile of bad news, one is that the Whitebeard pirates are not as vicious as they imagined. The Whitebeard pirates who entered Hidden Stones Village did not loot and commit crimes in the village, and they were not as brutal as the rumors. Another good news is, everyone thought that the 3rd Sushi Kage Oanaki had died in Whitebeard's hands. But who would have thought that they would soon see a lively Oenaki, appearing in front of them alive and kicking? Father, you weren't killed by Whitebeard? Kitsuchi stared dumbfounded at Oenaki in front of him. He even doubted whether he was under the Ganjutsu of the pirates. After all, there were several Uchiha experts in the Whitebeard pirates. Fool. Can't you even recognize your own father? Oenaki couldn't help but give this silly big son a white look, then he said with a somewhat complicated expression. I was supposed to die at the hands of Whitebeard, but... He took a deep breath and said. Whitebeard didn't kill me. When I was dying, he let his daughter save me. His daughter should be the last of the Uzumaki clan. She gave me some blood to drink, and then I recovered. Oenaki's mood was very complicated. He thought his life was basically over. Who would have thought that the Whitebeard pirates would actually save him? What is this? Oenaki was a bit confused. He didn't know what Whitebeard was thinking. So, Father, do we need to organize the people in the village to drive out the pirates? Kitsuchi asked a question. Do you want to drag the whole village into the underworld? Oenaki sighed. This son of his is usually quite steady, but at this time he is in a state of confusion. The burden of Sushi Kage, it seems, cannot be placed on him. Oenaki, who was almost killed by Whitebeard's blow, finally saw the situation clearly. The strength of the Whitebeard pirates is not something a simple Hidden Stones village can resist. This time, it was the Whitebeard pirates who gave Hidden Stones village, and him, Oenaki, a chance. If he seizes this opportunity, does not take a hard stance against the Whitebeard pirates, but instead softens his old waist, then Hidden Stones village will be fine. If he does not seize this opportunity, and still wants to compete with the Whitebeard pirates. After such thoughts flashed through his mind, Oenaki's gaze swept around the devastated scene. He sighed again. The war is over. There's no need to continue, otherwise the village will be destroyed in my hands. So many people died in the village in this war, it's all my responsibility, it's my sin. Oenaki paused, and continued. The disgrace of Hidden Stones village bowing to the Whitebeard pirates, let me bear it alone. Hearing Oenaki's words, Kitsuchi also knew that his father had bowed his head. He didn't know what to say, and the surrounding group of Hidden Stones villages and Buu ninjas were also speechless. Because this is Sushi Kage-sama's decision, these ninjas cannot interfere. There's so much to do next. Oenaki's old face was full of worry. The reconstruction of Hidden Stones village, the resettlement of civilians, the explanation to the daimyo, the negotiation with the Whitebeard pirates, the funeral of the sacrificed ninjas. Oenaki suddenly thought of something. He continued. And the funeral of the Jinchuriki also needs to be arranged together. Han has become a prisoner of the Whitebeard pirates. Oenaki does not think Han can survive. Because the Whitebeard pirates will extract the tailed beast from his body. A Jinchuriki, the tailed beast is forcibly extracted. Can he still survive? However, just at this moment, a familiar voice sounded not far away. Sushi Kage-sama. I'm back. The voice sounded very weak, like someone recovering from a serious illness. Oenaki, Kitsuchi, and a group of Anbu ninjas were all shocked to cast their gazes in the direction of the sound. They watched as Han, dressed in red armor, staggered back. Han? Kitsuchi was dumbfounded. Whitebeard pirates let you go, didn't they take the tailed beast inside you? Han leaned on a pile of ruins, gasping for breath. He said, the tailed beast inside me is gone. The Whitebeard pirates have a very special way to safely separate the tailed beast. Han's mood is very complicated. After they separated the 5 tails, they let me go. By the way, they also asked me to bring a message. Oenaki. Kitsuchi. Oenaki couldn't help asking, a message? Han said, that Whitebeard said. From now on, Hidden Stones village will be a vassal ninja village of the Whitebeard pirates, and the Whitebeard pirates have the highest say. Kitsuchi was dumbfounded. Then wouldn't our Hidden Stones village become slaves to the pirates, the kind that can never turn over? Han shook his head. It's not exactly slavery. Because they said that our Hidden Stones village has a high degree of autonomous jurisdiction. It's like there is a new daimyo above the ninja village, but this daimyo has stronger power than the ninja village. And this daimyo will not give any military funds to the ninja village. On the contrary, the ninja village has to pay this daimyo protection money. Han paused, smiled bitterly. The Whitebeard pirates also said. If Hidden Stones village encounters any trouble, if we can't deal with it, then the Whitebeard pirates will help solve it. This is the only benefit, right? Probably a benefit. Everyone fell into a deadly silence. On the other side, on the Moby Dick, the Jinchuriki of the 5 tails, Kakuo, had changed a person last night. The new Jinchuriki of the 5 tails, Kakuo, is Haku from the Whitebeard pirates. Choosing Haku as the new Jinchuriki of the 5 tails, Kakuo, is because among the peers of the pirate group, apart from Sasuke and Naruto, Haku's strength is second to none. In addition, Haku also has the Ice-style KK Genkai. Haku's Ice-style KK Genkai is difficult to play a big role, because he is still young and severely lacks chakra in his body. Now, Haku, who has a tailed beast, will not lack chakra as long as he can establish a bond with the tailed beast. His Ice-style KK Genkai will also climb several steps. Of course, choosing Haku also has a little idea of Whitebeard. The little brat called Aokiji in the Marine headquarters ate the ice fruit, and the devil fruit power of that little brat caused a lot of trouble to the Whitebeard pirates in the Summit War. One day, Whitebeard wants to see Haku. This stupid son's KK Genkai can be comparable to the little brat called Aokiji in the Marine headquarters. At that time, the old guy Sengoku who saw an ice user not weaker than Aokiji would probably be shocked. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr right? If it's not honest, then let it out and let Pops educate it well. Whitebeard held a bowl of wine. While drinking happily, he said to Haku. Haku shook his head. Pops, Kakuo is not messing around in the ceiling space, it seems to be a more well-behaved tailed beast. Then, Haku gratefully said. Pops, I won't let you down. I will definitely grow to a point that satisfies you. Whitebeard put the empty bowl on the ground. He laughed heartily. Gorara, you're full of spirit. What are you still doing here? Why not hurry up and get stronger? Starting from today, your special training volume will be doubled. Haku nodded heavily. Okay, Pops. Now, the Whitebeard pirates already have 6 tailed beasts, the remaining 3 are 1 tail, 3 tails, and 6 tails. Among them, the pirates currently only have information on 1 tail, knowing that 1 tail is in Hidden Sand Village. 3 tails, it was killed by Whitebeard once, and it's unknown if it has resurrected. And the information about 6 tails is very scarce, because the Jinchuriki of 6 tails is a rogue ninja from Hidden Mist Village. He left Hidden Mist Village many years ago and has been very low-key in the ninja world, with no movement. Looking at the group of silly sons and daughters on the deck, Whitebeard's rugged face showed a bit of emotion. This old remnant of his era, who built this new ship, seems to be quite decent. Whitebeard drank another bowl of wine, his eyes filled with reminiscence. This old man remembered a lot of past events. Gorara, Roger, Shiki. My adventures are much richer than yours. In the following period, the news of Hidden Stones Village being broken by the Whitebeard pirates spread in the ninja world. It took less than 5 days for the news to spread to all the ninja villages in the entire ninja world. One after another, the intelligence, like snowflakes, was delivered to the intelligence department of every ninja village. Another big move from the Whitebeard pirates. Once again shocked the entire ninja world. Hidden Grass Village, Hidden Mist Village, Hidden Clouds Village, Hidden Stones Village. In Hidden Mist Village, the old master, leaning on his cane, his cloudy eyes flashed with shock. In just 2 years, the pattern of the ninja world has been turned upside down. I was right about the person, and I was right about the new situation in the ninja world. The sky of the ninja world has completely changed. The new era is coming. The master knew that he had made a very correct decision. At the beginning, when he went against public opinion and chose to bow to the Whitebeard pirates, there were many rumors about him in Hidden Mist Village. There were even some conspiracy theories that he conspired with the Whitebeard pirates to kill the 4th Mizukage. But as time went by, and as the reputation of the Whitebeard pirates grew more and more famous, all these conspiracy theories were completely shattered. The people in the village also began to increasingly admire the old politician, the master. Because it was the master's decision that allowed Hidden Mist Village to seize the channel of rise. Now, Hidden Mist Village has been rebuilt. The various conditions in the village are visibly getting better and better. And all of this can't be separated from the protection of the Whitebeard pirates. Hidden Leaf Village. Hokage-sama, there are 2 urgent pieces of intelligence. An Anbu ninja from Hidden Leaf Village knelt on one knee and said to the 3rd Hokage, Saratobi Hiruzen. Speak. Saratobi Hiruzen was in a good mood today, as the ninja school had started again this year, and a few promising students had enrolled. A while ago, Nara Shikimaru, Okimeki Chaji, Haruno Sakura, and Rock Lee, who disappeared from the village, appeared in Hidden Stones Village. According to our informants in Hidden Stones Village, these children were saved by the Whitebeard pirates. After hearing the first piece of information, Saratobi Hiruzen was taken aback. The 4 children who were abducted by the mysterious person were saved? By rights, he should be happy. But Saratobi Hiruzen couldn't be happy. Because those children were not saved by the village, but by the Whitebeard pirates. In this way, wouldn't those children be very grateful to Whitebeard? You know, among them, Nara Shikimaru and Akimeki Chaji are the sons of the patriarchs of the Nara and Akimeki clans. How could it be such a coincidence? They, Hidden Leaf Village, Have not yet found the traces of these children, but the Whitebeard pirates found them first. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly thought of something. He asked. Wait, does that mean the Whitebeard pirates are now in Hidden Stones village? The Anbu ninja nodded and continued. Hokage-sama, this is the second piece of information I want to tell you. The Whitebeard pirates invaded Hidden Stones village a while ago, almost destroying the entire Hidden Stones village, and took away 2 tailed beasts from Hidden Stones village. At present, the third Sushi Kage Oanaki of Hidden Stones village has announced in front of the whole village that Hidden Stones village will become a vassal ninja village of the Whitebeard pirates. Hidden Stones village has received the protection of the Whitebeard Sea, and the Whitebeard pirates have also obtained the highest power of Hidden Stones village. The pirates have the power to select and dismiss the Sushi Kage. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chapter 315, Nagato's Confusion. Hidden Sand Village instantly chickens out. Black Zetsu finally couldn't sit still. All 6-tailed beasts fell into the hands of the Whitebeard pirates, so how was he going to continue to execute the plan to save his mother? You know, to revive Jidomazo, to make the god tree stand in the ninja world, the 9-tailed beasts are indispensable items. But recently in the Akatsuki organization, Black Zetsu also encountered trouble. Black Zetsu found that Nagato, who was currently the leader of the Akatsuki organization, was a bit distrustful of him, and even subtly rejecting him. For example, a while ago, the organization held a meeting, but Black Zetsu was not invited. If it weren't for Itachi Uchiha to find out what was said in the meeting, Black Zetsu would still be buried in the drum. Perhaps it was because of Obito's incident that made Nagato start to distrust people who have a close relationship with Obito. As for this, Black Zetsu could only curse Obito as a waste in his heart, and couldn't say much else. One day, Black Zetsu found Itachi Uchiha. The two met at a secret location in the Land of Rain. Itachi, I need your help with something. Black Zetsu, who looked like a carnivorous plant, was looking at Itachi as he spoke. There's something that needs you to take action to get it done. Itachi Uchiha, dressed in the black and red cloud robe of the Akatsuki, had a very complex identity, layered like a Matryoshka doll. On the surface, he was a rogue ninja from Hidden Leaf Village, a new official member of the Akatsuki. But his deeper identity was as a partner of Black Zetsu, from whom he learned many secrets of the ninja world, and also learned that the real leader of the Akatsuki was not Pain, but a man named Nagato. His deepest identity was as a spy for Hidden Leaf Village. Each of his 3 identities had a bit of a double-dealing nature. As a new member of the Akatsuki, he was now mixing with Black Zetsu, wanting to use the Akatsuki. He was also a mole planted by Hidden Leaf Village in the Akatsuki, always probing for secrets about the Akatsuki. As a partner of Black Zetsu, Itachi didn't trust Black Zetsu very much, or rather, he hadn't really trusted many people in his life. Itachi wanted to know more about Black Zetsu's Moon's Eye plan. How feasible is this plan? As a mole for Hidden Leaf Village. Actually, the information about the Akatsuki and Black Zetsu that he held in his hand, he had never sent back to Hidden Leaf Village. His position had always been wavering. At this time, after hearing Black Zetsu's words, Itachi Uchiha asked expressionlessly, "What is it?" Black Zetsu said, "I found the information of the 6 Tails Jinchuriki. I know where he is. I need you to catch him." Black Zetsu continued, "Nagato is unwilling to advance the plan to capture the tailed beasts, indicating that he has doubts about our original plan. But if we don't take action, all the tailed beasts in the ninja world will fall into Whitebeard's hands. In this way, the ninja world will never be able to achieve true peace. The Moon's Eye plan will also disappear in smoke because of Whitebeard's existence." At this point, Black Zetsu paused. He looked into Itachi Uchiha's eyes, and said, "Itachi, you are a person who longs for peace. Don't you want the ninja world to fall into eternal peace?" Black Zetsu was anxious. He couldn't let the Whitebeard pirates continue to capture the tailed beasts. He must get a tailed beast first. But with his own power, it is very difficult to capture a tailed beast alone. The current Akatsuki is somewhat uncontrollable. So Black Zetsu would cooperate with Itachi Uchiha. Not only because the extreme character of the Uchiha clan makes them very easy to control, but also because Itachi Uchiha possesses the Mengekyo Sharingan. His pair of Mengekyo Sharingan is simply the nemesis of the tailed beasts. 6 tails? Itachi Uchiha pondered for a while. He asked, "Is it just me?" Black Zetsu shook his head. "I will also be by your side. It's impossible to let you face such a dangerous existence as the tailed beast alone. After all, we are partners, our goals are the same, all for the peace of the ninja world, isn't it?" Black Zetsu continued. "Don't forget. I am the product of Madara Uchiha's awakening of the Rinnegan. His will is my will, his goal is my goal. This will never change." "Okay." Itachi nodded. But it's not enough with just the two of us. If you can pull Biwajuzo into our camp, it might be more secure. Black Zetsu was taken aback, frowning. Biwajuzo? Your partner? Can you trust that guy? Itachi said expressionlessly. He and I have lived and almost died together several times. I have saved him, and he has saved me. Black Zetsu probably knew that Itachi didn't trust him and wanted to pull a trusted person into the group, so he could be more flexible. It has to be admitted that this Itachi Uchiha is indeed smarter than Obito. But that's about it. Black Zetsu retracted his thoughts a bit. He nodded. I will test him. If he passes the test, if his goal is the same as ours, then he will also become our partner. On the other side of the Land of Rain. As the only lonely and disabled person in the Akatsuki organization, Nagato has been feeling more and more confused lately. Back then, after Yahiko's death, Nagato had deep doubts about the original founding philosophy of the Akatsuki organization. Not relying on extreme military force to make the world peaceful. Later, under the bewitchment of Madara Uchiha, Nagato began to feel that the original philosophy was worthless. And he increasingly felt that this cursed world is unable to achieve mutual understanding between people. Such a world cannot achieve true peace. Only by creating a tailed beast weapon that can instantly destroy a country, and letting the entire ninja world feel fear and pain with extremely powerful violence. Guiding the world with pain can achieve world peace. Until a few months ago, Nagato still firmly believed that only the latter could achieve peace in the ninja world. But when he learned that the so-called Madara Uchiha was actually a little kid named Obito Uchiha, Nagato fell silent. That guy's identity is fake, if what that guy once said to him from beginning to end is also a lie. Can making the ninja world feel pain really bring peace to the ninja world? Can tailed beast weapons really be made? With the exposure of Obito's alias, various impacts followed. The biggest impact is that Nagato increasingly began to doubt, was Obito using him from beginning to end? Before this, Nagato thought that the two sides were using each other. But the moment they knew Obito's alias was exposed, they found out that all along, only they were being used unilaterally. He was like a clown, being played with easily by a guy younger than himself. Madara Uchiha. Obito Uchiha. How much of what you said is true, how much is false? Or is everything you said to me not true at all? Nagato's hands were on the armrests of the wheelchair, and countless doubts emerged in his heart. But all the questions, all the confusion, can only wait for Conan's next intelligence transmission. Nagato thought he could handle everything in the organization by himself, but until Conan left, Nagato found that he seemed to be a little unable to manage even himself. Time passed again, more than half a month. The Whitebeard pirates, with their rich harvest, have already left Hidden Stones village. The so-called rich harvest is naturally the protection fee paid by Hidden Stones village to the Whitebeard pirates, a full billion. The reason why it is less than what Hidden Clouds village paid is because considering that Hidden Stones village still needs to be rebuilt, the Whitebeard pirates took a little less money. But this billion is not small, it can build another Moby Dick. At this moment, on the Moby Dick, Sasuke's eyes were covered with a layer of black cloth, while Naruto was holding a wooden ninja sword, clumsily hacking at Sasuke. Although Naruto has never learned any swordsmanship, Naruto's strength is very great, being hit by this wooden sword is not a joke. Only the continuous pap 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 sound echoed incessantly. In the end, Sasuke was panting and powerless, lying on his back. He couldn't tell the difference between sweat and blood all over his body. Sasuke tore off the black cloth covering his eyes. He glanced at Naruto weakly. Stupid. Stupid Naruto, can't you be a little less forceful? Can this really awaken observation haki? Did you learn any tricks at the time? Naruto was holding the 50th wooden ninja sword that had been broken. He said carelessly. Don't worry, I have done this too, you will definitely be able to awaken observation haki. As for the trick, of course there is. You just need to do this, then that, and you're good. Sasuke twitched at the corner of his mouth. It seemed impossible to learn any tricks from this fool's mouth. It would be better to ask Shizui. Sasuke knew that Naruto must know the trick, but Naruto, this fool, didn't have the ability to describe the trick. On the other side of the ship, Kakashi had just finished practicing taijutsu with Kisame. He took a deep breath and sat down. Just then, a familiar voice came from the side. Kakashi, turn around. Kakashi was startled. He turned his head and saw Nohara Rin, who had been summoning, Impure World reincarnationed. Since Rin was summoning, Impure World reincarnationed by Kakashi, she has not returned to the underworld. According to Rin's description, it was the atmosphere of the Whitebeard pirates that made her realize that there are still many places in the world worth lingering over. Nohara Rin held a handkerchief and wiped the sweat from Kakashi's forehead. She complained. You guys are really something. After training you just let the sweat on your body go. The sweat will stink when it dries. Kakashi coughed, took the handkerchief from Rin's hand. I can do it myself. Kisame, sitting next to him, lifted his eyelids, and his mouth twitched. Kakashi, am I disturbing you too by sitting here? Kakashi's old face turned red instantly. He hurriedly said. What are you talking about? Rin is only 13 years old. I'm not a pervert. We're just close friends. Nohara, Rin whispered. Tsunade-sama said. Orochimaru-sama is recently researching how to implant the soul of summoning, impure world reincarnation into a special organism. If the research is successful, Orochimaru-sama will truly master the forbidden technique that can resurrect people. Nohara Rin lowered her head, her voice getting smaller and smaller. If I can truly resurrect with a new body, I just need another 5 years, I can actually be 18. Kisame vaguely recalled a female ninja from Hidden Mist Village. He sighed. I really envy you, Kakashi. Kakashi. Land of Wind. Hidden Sand Village. A patriarch of a ninja clan from Hidden Sand Village spoke urgently to Raza. Kazekage-sama, Hidden Stones Village has fallen, and the evil Whitebeard pirates are heading towards our Hidden Sand Village. Because our village has a tailed beast, those evil and hateful brutal pirates will definitely come. They first annexed Hidden Mist Village, then Hidden Clouds Village, and then they annexed Hidden Stones Village. Their next target must be our Hidden Sand Village. The Whitebeard pirates are coming. Raza, wearing the Kazekage hat, sat behind the desk, his face as black as the bottom of a pot. Can he, the Kazekage, see the current situation? Does he still need this ninja clan patriarch to say it? At this time, another ninja clan patriarch suddenly said. Is your news a bit outdated? The Whitebeard pirates are not about to come, they are already on the way. According to their pirate ship's sailing trajectory, they are heading straight for us. Huh? This person sighed heavily, gritted his teeth and said. I didn't expect that we ninjas would be so scared in front of a group of pirates. They go wherever they want to annex, the Whitebeard pirates are too domineering. Raza still didn't speak, he picked up the water cup next to him and took a shallow sip of water. To calm down the restless thoughts in his heart. If the Whitebeard pirates really came to Hidden Sand Village, how should he, the Kazekage, face the pirates? A Jonin from Hidden Sand Village said. Gentlemen, it's not that I'm pessimistic, but Hidden Sand Village is really not an opponent of the Whitebeard pirates. What we can do is either learn from Hidden Clouds Village and Hidden Stones Village and fight them to the death, or hand over our tailed beast to avoid disputes. Raza was so angry that he wanted to slap the table and stand up and scold this Jonin for being a soft bone. Is it something a big ninja village can do to exchange peace with a tailed beast? But in the end, Raza still didn't slap the table and stand up. There's no way. He had to admit that even if this person's bones were soft, what he said was true. Ebizo was also sitting on a chair, he was sitting next to Raza. Ebizo interjected in an old voice. Gentlemen, I have a piece of information that I received this morning. My intelligence ninja found that the Whitebeard pirates Moby Dick appeared in the Land of Wind. A simple sentence fell, and the Kazekage's office was instantly silent. Raza immediately glared at Ebizo, although he didn't say a word, but the meaning was very clear. Such important information, you are telling me now? Chio, the old woman, said indifferently. Ah. At this time, we really have to admit that we are not opponents of the pirate group. I heard that the Whitebeard pirates are not as brutal as everyone said, they generally only want the tailed beast and protection fee. That Whitebeard captain is not the kind of evil pirate you imagined. As long as you don't confront them directly, maybe the village can continue to maintain peace like now. Raza looked at Chio in disbelief. What's with this old woman's attitude recently? Does she advocate bowing to Whitebeard? But at this moment Raza found that, in the office, a group of people all had their eyes on him, the Kazekage. Raza realized that as the Kazekage, his continued silence was indeed a bit unreasonable. He wanted to spit out some harsh words about dealing with pirates. But for some reason, those words just wouldn't come out. Raza's face turned blue with suffocation. He was silent for a full minute, and could only squeeze out this sentence. When the day comes that the Whitebeard pirates come to Hidden Sand Village, I will negotiate with Whitebeard in the name of the current Kazekage of Hidden Sand Village, striving to gain more benefits for the village. Raza chickened out. Hidden Sand Village chickened out. Chapter 316, Gaara. The Jinchuriki who came to the door. After the meeting, Raza saw Gaara. In his eyes, this son was a failed Jinchuriki, and the more he looked at him, the more disgusted he felt. He once sent a ninja named Yoshimaru to test Gaara's capacity, and to his disappointment, Gaara couldn't control himself at all and went berserk that day. Thinking of his wife, who died in childbirth because of this guy. The village was invaded by the Whitebeard pirates because of this kid's existence. Raza's face was even more clouded. Gaara also saw his father, he looked up at Raza, his eyes showing no emotion at all. Humphrey. In the end, Raza didn't say much to his son, he just snorted coldly, ignored Gara, and walked past him. Gara stared blankly at Raza's retreating figure. He lowered his head, not knowing what to do, and just stood there quietly. Some of the hidden sand village ninjas around him also dared not approach this Jinchuriki, because Gara had gone berserk a while ago. If they accidentally stimulated the Jinchuriki to go berserk again, the weak ninjas wouldn't survive. Whitebeard. Pirate crew. Suddenly, Gara slowly uttered these words. Gara naturally heard about the rumors that were very supportive of Whitebeard. He knew that as a one-tailed Jinchuriki, he might have been targeted by the Whitebeard pirates, just like those Jinchuriki in the ninja world who had suffered misfortune. Since experiencing the assassination of Yoshimaru, Gara has completely closed off his heart and decided to live for himself in the future. He abandoned the feelings he thought were unnecessary, and in the process of being assassinated time and time again, he began to try to take pleasure in killing. This time, knowing that he was facing such a crisis, Gara decided to deal with the crisis with his own strength. He took a deep look at Raza's retreating figure, and in the calm depths of his eyes, there was a deep killing intent. The relationship between this father and son is very abnormal. You are all afraid of pirates, but I am not. Gara muttered to himself again. He walked in one direction alone. My capacity is above all of you. That direction is indeed the direction to leave Hidden Sand Village. Yes, he plans to leave the village and go to find the Whitebeard pirates on his own. He doesn't want to wait for the pirate crew to come to him, he wants to find them actively, and then use his power to kill all the pirates. And, in order not to be disturbed by annoying people, Gara plans to kill a few Anbu who are watching him first. The next day, Raza received an unbelievable news. 3 Hidden Sand Village Anbu ninjas who were monitoring Gara were brutally killed at some alleyway, and Jinchuriki Gara disappeared. His trace couldn't be found in the entire village. Raza abruptly stood up from his chair. He found it hard to stay calm, staring wide-eyed at the Anbu ninja reporting in front of him. 3 Anbu ninjas, can't even watch a child? The Anbu ninja kneeling on one knee in front of Raza bowed his head and apologized. Kazekage-sama, we are incompetent, please punish us. Raza clenched his fist, then slowly relaxed. His breathing was like a bellows. It's easy to imagine that Raza's mood is very unsettled now. He had originally decided to use Gara as a bargaining chip to negotiate with the Whitebeard pirates, to gain more benefits for the village. This can also be considered a kind of waste utilization. But who would have thought that the bargaining chip in his hand ran away? Gara is only 8 years old this year. Even if he is a Jinchuriki, it shouldn't be impossible to watch him, right? Raza's lungs were about to explode. Search. He gritted his teeth and said word by word, send out half of the Anbu ninjas, search every corner of the entire village. Then send out the other half of the Anbu ninjas, search near the village, and tie him back. Upon hearing this, the Anbu ninja quickly nodded, yes, Kazekage-sama. Watching this Anbu ninja disappear with a whoosh, Raza tried hard to calm his fluctuating thoughts. He sat back in his chair, his face full of gloom and anger. Just at this moment, the door of the office was pushed open. Just as Raza was about to get angry again, he found that the 2 people who walked in were his son and daughter. Raza has 3 children, Temari, Kankuro, and Kara. The ones who walked into the Kazekage office were indeed Temari and Kankuro. Why are you here? Isn't there school at the Ninja Academy today? Raza held back his anger and asked coldly. Temari and Kankuro have long been accustomed to their father's cold attitude. Dad, Gara hasn't come back all night and morning, has he disappeared? Temari, with her big eyes wide open, asked Raza. Raza took a deep breath and repeated the situation the Anbu ninja had told him. Temari and Kankuro's eyes were wide open. This is not something you little brats should meddle in. When Temari was about to say something, Raza interrupted directly, you do what you should do. Meanwhile, in the vast desert, a small figure stands out. Gara has been alone, walking from night to dawn, he doesn't know how far he has walked. He, who is only 8 years old, has no experience in long journeys. He doesn't even listen to classes in the Ninja Academy. Gara doesn't even know that he should bring some water and food when going out. At this moment, Gara is already parched and tongue-tied. During this time, he hasn't drunk a drop of water or eaten anything. He knows that he should go back to Hidden Sand Village now, prepare everything and then come out again. But he thought about it, and still gritted his teeth. If I can't even bear this hardship, what's the point of living only for myself? And besides, I absolutely can't let those people see me like this. Gara gritted his teeth and held on. He didn't know if he could meet the Whitebeard pirates in the direction he was walking. He just has a strange premonition. He feels that he is right to go in this direction. He decides to trust his premonition. Another hour passed. Gara was already a little unable to walk. He was panting heavily. Huff. Huff. The dryness in his mouth made him not want to say a word. The scorching sun made his vision a bit blurry. Gaara found that his dehydration and hunger were already very serious, because he found that he was hallucinating. He actually saw a ship in the distance. How could there be a ship in the desert? He knew it was a ship because he had seen it in a book. But the next second, Gaara found something was off. No matter how hard he shook his head, even slapping himself, the blurry ship in front of him did not disappear. It didn't look like a hallucination, nor like a mirage in the desert. As time passed by the second, he found the ship getting bigger and clearer. That is to say, this ship is real. It's so hot. Haku, make some more ice cubes, please. I can't stand the heat. Naruto, sticking out his tongue, lay weakly on the railing of the Moby Dick. Sasuke, who was next to him, gave Naruto a look. Can't stand sailing in the desert for a few days. You don't have the demeanor of a team leader at all, stupid Naruto. Naruto complained, but it's really hot. Even the water stored on the ship is hot, and the wind is hot. Haku made a few large ice cubes in an instant with his hands sealed. Seeing this, Naruto's eyes lit up, and he pounced on them. Feeling the cold chill of the ice cubes, Naruto showed a contented expression. He. Finally feels much better. Hinata and Karen were sweating profusely on the other side, practicing against each other. They have always been competing in taijutsu. However, due to the temperature, their movements were much slower than usual. The sweat accumulated in their clothes could probably squeeze out a small basin. Fu was communicating with Chomai, the Seven Tails. It's essential for a Jinchuriki to establish a bond with the tailed beast. Kakashi was boredly watching the little prince, with no Harurin sitting next to Kakashi, occasionally curiously peeking over, then being scared by the content of the book and quickly shifting her gaze. But she couldn't help being curious and took another sneaky peek. Tsunade was drunk today. A few days ago, the Moby Dick docked in a small town in the Land of Wind for a day. Tsunade ran out to gamble enthusiastically, but the money she had finally earned from the Whitebeard pirates was all lost, and she became a big fat sheep in the ninja world again. This led to Tsunade being depressed and drinking for several days. Neji was currently opening his Byakugan, wanting to see how long he could keep his Byakugan open. Just as he was looking around with his Byakugan, suddenly, a small figure was caught by Neji's Byakugan. Neji's twisting neck suddenly paused. His gaze quickly locked onto that figure. That is. He took a closer look and found that it was a boy about his age. The other party had short red hair, carried a strange large gourd on his back, and his face was expressionless, like a poker face. Neji also found that the other party's eyes were a bit scattered, showing signs of heat stroke. Pops, there seems to be a lost person in the desert ahead. Neji immediately shouted to Whitebeard. Whitebeard's observation haki swept over. Gorara, a lost reckless kid. It looks like he's weak and about to faint. Whitebeard could feel that the kid was a bit unusual. But Whitebeard wasn't worried about this. Foolish son, take some water down to save him. Whitebeard spoke. Okay, Pops. Neji immediately nodded. He quickly ran back into the cabin, grabbed 2 bottles of water and ran out, jumping directly off the Moby Dick. And Moby Dick also stopped, lest it accidentally killed the little devil who was in trouble in the desert. Neji quickly approached Gaara. When he was less than 10 meters away from Gaara, Neji said, "It's your good luck to meet us in the desert." Then he handed 2 bottles of water to Gaara, although it's very strange that you appear in the desert. Looking at you like this, if you don't drink water, you might faint. Drink a little bit, don't drink too fast, sip it slowly. The strong sense of thirst made Gaara temporarily give up thinking. His eyes only had the 2 bottles of water in Neji's hand. He grabbed one of them, quickly unscrewed the cap and poured it into his mouth, completely ignoring Neji's warning. After drinking a bottle of water in one breath, he grabbed the other one, unscrewed the cap, and poured it on his head. It wasn't until now that Gaara slowly regained consciousness. He looked down at the empty water bottle in his hand, then looked up at Neji in front of him. Neji's pair of white eyes made Gaara stunned. This was the first time he had seen someone with white eyes. Gaara didn't say thank you, he just asked this question, "What is this ship?" Neji felt that this guy was a bit impolite. But he still answered Gaara's question, "This is Moby Dick, we are the Whitebeard pirates." Gaara. Whitebeard pirates. Gaara didn't forget what he wanted to do when he left the village. He didn't expect that his vague premonition was really accurate. Walking in this direction, he actually ran into the Whitebeard pirates. It was also at this time. Gaara found a pirate flag on Moby Dick, making a sound in the desert wind. "So, you are pirates, are you going to Hidden Sand Village to catch Jinchuriki?" Gaara asked again without expression. Neji frowned. This strange guy knows this too? It seems that he is not a simple guy. But indeed, it's strange to see such a young person appear in the vast desert. Yes. Neji raised a few points of vigilance, nodded and responded frankly, "If I'm not mistaken, You should be from Hidden Sand Village, right? Gara also nodded honestly, yes. The eyes of both sides were looking at each other. There was a bit of confusion and vigilance in Neji's eyes. A faint killing intent began to permeate Gara's eyes. And the killing intent in his eyes visibly increased. Neji immediately caught something wrong. Also at this moment, Gara directly burst out. To thank you for giving me 2 bottles of water, I will leave your whole body. The Jinchuriki you pirates want to catch is me. Gara's eyes were full of fierce light. He slapped his hands hard. You don't need to come to me, I will come to you directly. And, I want to kill you directly. Sand shower. Neji's pupils shrank. His pair of white eyes saw a very strange chakra surging in Gara's body. At the same time, Neji felt his feet. As if they were bound by sand. Chapter 317, Half-Tailed Beast Gara. Sasuke and Naruto vs. Gara. Neji felt that if he was himself a year ago, he would have been seriously injured and fell to the ground if he didn't die in the hands of the other party's sudden attack. But now he is completely different from before. Neji feels that he is progressing rapidly every day. Although he can't compare with Naruto, Sasuke and other Jinchuriki, Neji's progress speed is not too weak. His strength is considered T1 level among his peers. The T0 batch of peers is naturally Naruto and Sasuke. At this critical moment, Neji's feet exploded with unprecedented power, and he actually forcibly broke free from the sand's restraint. At the same time, one sand bullet after another had already condensed above him. Just as the sand bullets were about to fall, Neji quickly dodged backward. The dense sand bullets fell like raindrops, creating one pit after another in the soft sand beneath his feet. A few drops of cold sweat seeped from Neji's forehead. This guy, his seal formation speed is so fast, his strength is very strong. And when he made his move just now, that strange chakra was very eerie. However, he soon smiled. It's good, a strange enemy has appeared, just in time for me to feel what level of progress I have made in these recent days. Looking at Neji in front of him, Gara's eyes also showed a hint of surprise. He dodged. Suddenly, before Gara could react more, Neji had already taken the initiative to attack. Neji assumed a gentle fist stance, his white eyes staring intently at Gara. Gentle fist 8 trigrams 16 palms. Since the opponent started with a killer move, Neji would not be polite. The surprise in Gara's eyes dissipated, and he said expressionlessly, it's useless, since I dare to come here alone to kill all of you pirates, I naturally have the power to crush you all. Suddenly, a large amount of yellow sand drilled out of the big gourd on Gara's back. The large yellow sand turned into a huge shield and blocked in front of Gara. Neji's gentle fist 8 trigrams 16 palms all fell on the sand, without touching a single hair of Gara. What is this? Cialis ninjutsu? Neji frowned. No, just now his chakra inside his body did not flow, indicating that it is not his ninjutsu. What's the deal with the sand in this gourd? The next second, Gara's fingertips moved slightly. A large amount of fine sand in the desert rose up like waves and pressed towards Neji like a landslide. Fortunately, Neji has a pair of white eyes, and he can capture the moment the opponent makes a move by the flow of chakra inside the opponent's body. He quickly dodged the sand wave to the right and decisively took out 2 kunai from his ninja tools and threw them at Gara. Shoo-shoo 2 kunai flew out through the air. But they were all blocked by the sand in the gourd. Suddenly, Neji threw out another kunai. This kunai bypassed the sand at a very tricky angle and went straight to Gara's throat. Obviously, the previous 2 terrifying attacks were just a feint. The purpose is to lead away the eerie sand in the gourd. I got it, you lose. Before Neji finished speaking, he watched the kunai hit Gara's throat, and found that the kunai only stabbed in less than half a centimeter. The key is that no blood flowed out, but a lot of fine sand fell down. Neji was taken aback and observed carefully with his Byakugan. He found the clue. Is this a layer of sand made into armor? The sand is too close to the body, I didn't notice it at first. Gari glanced at the kunai stuck in his neck. He casually pulled it out, put his index finger in the ring of the kunai, and gently rotated the kunai. You guy with Byakugan, you are the most powerful peer I have ever seen. I decided to remember your name. My name is Gara. What is your name? Gara's voice was calm. The 2 bottles of water he had before had almost restored his state. Neji Hyuga. Neji was also very calm. He did not deny that Gara in front of him was a strong enemy, but he was not afraid of Gara. Hey, Neji Hyuga. Gara nodded and said, I remember your name. In the Whitebeard pirate group, you are also one of the top geniuses, right? The adults on the ship may not necessarily be your opponents, right? Upon hearing this, Neji's expression was somewhat strange. Does this guy called Gara have some misunderstanding about the Whitebeard pirates? Although Neji's talent is indeed high, he knows that there are people on the ship whose talent is higher than his, and there are many people whose talent can match his. Not to mention the adults on the ship. Especially the official adult members of the Whitebeard pirates on the ship. Each of them has the strength to single-handedly challenge a ninja village. What's going on down there? Neji. Suddenly, Naruto's shouting came from the ship. Why are you fighting? Do you need my help? Sasuke interrupted Naruto. Stupid Naruto, don't interfere in other people's fights casually. Gaara looked up. He didn't know if it was his illusion, but he actually felt a strange sense of threat from those two people. You know, even Neji Hyuga, who he thinks is quite powerful, did not make him feel threatened. Finally, there were some ripples on Gaara's face. At this time, Neji took advantage of Gaara's distraction and decisively approached Gaara. Gentle fist, 8 trigrams 16 palms. Neji's sneak attack made Gaara a little unresponsive. His body was hit and kept retreating, his feet constantly stepping out a pit in the sand, and a layer of sand defense on his body was also hit with holes. While Gaara's body was briefly stiff, Neji quickly kicked up, accurately hitting Gaara's chin. While kicking Gaara flying, he jumped up and chopped down heavily, hitting Gaara's forehead on the spot. Marine 6 Styles, Tempest Kick. This is a Marine 6 Styles Tempest Kick that can't cut out a vacuum slash. Because, Neji is not proficient in this Marine 6 Styles move. But it also has extraordinary power. Whoosh bang. Gaara's small body heavily smashed into the sand below, raising a cloud of sand dust. Neji landed on the ground, expressionless. Don't say I'm despicable, this is called fighting fire with fire. A small hand drilled out from the sand, and Gaara crawled out from the sand pile. He looked a bit embarrassed, his clothes were broken in many places, and a layer of sand armor on the surface of his skin was also broken a lot. Especially Gaara's head, there was a very hideous gap on his forehead, and blood slowly flowed out of the gap. The scarlet blood flowed down his face to his mouth. He stuck out his tongue and licked it gently. It hurts. Gaara wiped the blood stain on his forehead. If it weren't for the sand armor to offset most of the power, half of his head might have been dented. In Gaara's eyes, there were dense bloodshot eyes, and the extreme murderous intent was released from his small body. He stared at Neji in front of him, his mouth corner raised a grinning smile. I want to tear you apart. Tear you apart with my own hands. On the Moby Dick. Kakashi, who was watching the show, gently raised his eyebrows. Hey, such a small kid, how can he have such a strong murderous intent? How many people has he killed? And his emotions seem a bit wrong? Was he broken by being injured? Kisame sneered. It's interesting, Kakashi, did you just say that there is a tailed beast in his body? Kakashi nodded. It was Juki who told me. Juki said that this child's is the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Kisame tutted. This is like finding a needle in a haystack. The Jinchuriki of Hidden Sand Village actually came to us. Looking at this kid's posture, does he want to challenge all of us with the power of the tailed beast? Very good idea, but it's a bit short-sighted. Kisame gave Gaara a sharp comment. The power of the tailed beast is indeed very overstandard in the ninja world. Even if it's just such a small kid, as long as he can master the power of the tailed beast, even elite Jonin may not necessarily be his opponent. After all, once the tailed beast is released, it's not a joke. Unfortunately, this kind of power seems a bit childish in front of the Whitebeard pirates. The Jinchuriki of the One Tail, the youngest son of Kazekage Raza, Gaara. Konan murmured to herself. She knew all about Gaara's information because she had personally collected the information of this Jinchuriki from Hidden Sand Village. Collecting Jinchuriki's information was naturally for the future plans of the Akatsuki organization. Who would have thought that the Whitebeard pirates would get there first? An interesting guy. Sasuke squinted his eyes, a smile curling up at the corner of his mouth. He seems to have a good momentum, but I don't know if the power he currently possesses can support this momentum. Naruto suddenly said. He wants to borrow the power of the tailed beast. Below, Neji found that something was wrong with Gaara. Because the strange chakra in his body was surging crazily. Under Neji's wide-eyed gaze, Gaara's body began to change. Gaara's arms began to transform into a very fierce beast claw form, and the amount of chakra in his body increased tenfold in the blink of an eye. A visible wave of chakra spread out from his body, blowing Neji's hair slightly. It was at this moment that Neji finally understood why there was such a strange chakra in his body. This is the chakra of the tailed beast. This guy called Gaara is a Jinchuriki. When this thought flashed through Neji's mind, Gaara moved instantly. His burst of speed made it hard for the Byakugan to keep up. In the blink of an eye, Gaara raised the claw of Shukaku, clenched his fist and slammed it heavily on Neji. Neji only had time to cross his hands in front of him to block. Obviously, he couldn't block it. Under the huge power of Gaara's half-tailed beast transformation, Neji was directly blown away, his body heavily hit the Moby Dick. He couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood, cough. He is actually a Jinchuriki. Yes, that kind of chakra, I should have thought of it. In the final analysis, Neji still lacks some combat experience. Although he often sparred with Haku, Kimimaro, Karen, Hinata, Naruto, and others on the ship. But family is family after all. When sparring, although they know they need to use all their strength, they definitely can't do it when they really want to do it. What Neji lacks is real combat experience. His few experiences were when the pirate group attacked other ninja villages, and he went down to pick a few opponents to fight. Neji is not very satisfied with his performance today, but he also knows, even if he braves his head, he can't defeat the half-tailed beast Gaara. Next, it's not his fight. Sure enough, when Neji was blown away, two people jumped down from the ship. They were Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke blocked Gaara from left to right to prevent Gaara from taking the opportunity to chase and kill Neji. Sasuke had his hands in his pockets. He lifted his chin and said, "Matatabi just told me, you are the Jinchuriki of the One-Tail Shukaku." Naruto first looked at Neji. Seeing that Neji was temporarily okay, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he frowned and looked at Gaara. Naruto said, Hey. Aren't you a bit too much? Neji was so kind to bring water to save you. But you want to kill him, where do you repay kindness with enmity?" Unfortunately, the power of the tailed beast appeared on Gaara, which made Gaara's sanity almost non-existent now. The pirates want to kill me, then I will kill the pirates first. Gaara let out a low growl like a beast from his mouth. He couldn't control the half-tailed beast transformation at all. His entire fighting posture was like a mad beast. He quickly ran towards Naruto and Sasuke. TSK. Stupid Naruto, wake this guy up. Sasuke took his hands out of his pockets. Naruto gently rubbed his nose with his thumb. Die. Gaara swung his two huge Shukaku claws, trying to shatter Naruto and Sasuke at the same time. The claws touched Naruto and Sasuke's bodies, but surprisingly, these were just two afterimages. Sasuke suddenly appeared behind Gaara, his feet stepping on Gaara's shoulders. You've hardly any sanity left. You've been heavily influenced by the tailed beast, haven't you, Jinchuriki? Haven't you established a bond with the tailed beast? After Sasuke made a sharp comment with an expressionless face, a layer of tailed beast chakra also enveloped his body. Sasuke stomped down heavily. He also borrowed the power of the tailed beast. Gaara was completely trampled down. Sasuke, move quickly. Naruto's voice startled Sasuke. Sasuke hurriedly looked up and found Naruto holding a Rasengan, appearing in the air. This idiot, why does he like to mess around so much? Sasuke quickly dodged. Just saw, Naruto holding a Rasengan with a diameter of several tens of centimeters fell from the sky, trying to smash Gaara's lower back. At the same time, the sand in the gourd was rolling violently. It wants to block this blow. Boom. Chapter 318, One-Tail Shukaku? Instantly kill the tailed beast. Boom. Since becoming a one-tailed Jinchuriki, Gaara has never suffered such a heavy blow. Although many people in the village have wanted to assassinate him in the past 2 years, they can't even hurt Gaara. They were directly killed. Gaara really hasn't suffered any serious injuries. However, today is an exception. The thick shield formed by the sand in the gourd was directly shattered by the huge Rasengan with a diameter of several tens of centimeters. There is only crack sound. The big gourd on Gaara's back was broken in response, and the Rasengan was directly pressed on his back. For a moment, he felt that he had already stepped 1 foot into the gate of ghosts, and his brain consciousness was also stunned. The strength of Sasuke and Naruto far exceeded Gaara's imagination. Not to mention the 9 tails in Naruto's body, he has always disliked the 1 tail in Gaara's body. Seeing Naruto going to beat that 1-tailed Jinchuriki, how could Kurama not exert some strength? Gaara's body sank deeply into the sand below. The huge impact of the Rasengan even blasted out an exaggerated big pit around it. Blood uncontrollably sprayed out from Gaara's mouth, nose, and even ears. He felt that every part of his body had lost consciousness. He couldn't even take the blow from the blonde-haired guy. For a Jinchuriki like you. It's really embarrassing, brat. Just as Gaara's consciousness was about to fall into silence, a very evil voice sounded from his body. The sound of this voice also made Gaara's muddled consciousness finally clear a bit. Gaara's eyes gradually widened. This voice is you. The U in Gaara's mouth is naturally the 1-tail Shukaku. Shukaku snorted coldly. It was very dissatisfied with Gaara. This little kid's strength was too weak. He borrowed his chakra, but he couldn't beat the other 2 Jinchuriki. It can't even be called not being able to beat. It's completely being pressed on the ground and hammered by the opponent. Instantly killed. The 2-tailed Jinchuriki is okay. The key is the blonde-haired brat. He has the 9 tails in his body. Shukaku smelled the fox's stinky smell from a long distance. As soon as that smell is smelled, it makes it physically nauseous. This little brat was actually heavily hit by the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. What a disgrace. Useless brat, you should sleep for a while, let me show that stinky fox who is the real king. As Shukaku's voice fell, Gaara fainted on the spot. The reason why Gaara didn't die after taking Naruto's super large Rasengan was all because Shukaku used chakra to save Gaara's life. But Shukaku didn't heal Gaara's injuries, he just kept Gaara's life hanging. If this little brat from dying, he would also die with this little brat. Being killed by the Jinchuriki of the stinky fox. Is there anything more disgraceful than this? Shukaku can't accept this kind of death. Ha ha ha, it's finally time for me to take the stage. Damn stinky fox, if I don't teach you a lesson, you will forget how powerful I am. Gaara's fainting meant that Shukaku was temporarily free, and it let out bursts of laughter. I don't know if the seal beast technique of hidden sand village is incomplete or not. After the Jinchuriki lost consciousness, the tailed beast could actually take control of the body. If other tailed beasts knew about this, I don't know how envious they would be. Meanwhile, at the edge of the huge sand pit, Sasuke was full of black lines at the moment. He couldn't help but complain to Naruto, "Idiot Naruto, you didn't kill him, did you? If he dies, wouldn't the tailed beast in his body also die with him? Didn't we make this trip for nothing?" Naruto scratched his head awkwardly. He quickly explained, "I didn't know that the big fox would lend me so much chakra at once. I just wanted to make a Rasengan the size of a palm at first. Who would have thought that I would make such a big Rasengan with a little effort?" Suddenly, a voice from Matetabi sounded in Sasuke's body. "Sasuke-kun, that child is not dead, and you'd better back off a bit, Shukaku is coming out." Sasuke. Shukaku? Is it the tailed beast in that guy called Gaara? Could it be that he is a perfect Jinchuriki? How is that possible, he is so young? Matetabi seemed to see Sasuke's shock and doubt. She explained, "That child lost consciousness, and his body was controlled by Shukaku. So that's how it is." Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief. If he saw a peer who was a perfect Jinchuriki, Sasuke would be greatly shocked. Fortunately, the other party is not a perfect Jinchuriki. He is just a tool controlled by the tailed beast. "Stupid Naruto, get away." Sasuke quickly grabbed Naruto's arm, forcibly pulled Naruto, and ran away from this place together. When they ran out a few tens of meters away, the sand under their feet began to tremble slightly. And the amplitude of the tremor gradually increased. Bang! Until a huge figure broke out of the sand. The huge body that was tens of meters high was as high as Moby Dick. A monster with a brown-yellow body appeared. Roar! The roar from Shukaku echoed through the sky, and it was not easy to gain temporary freedom again. It laughed excitedly. Ha ha ha. Its existence was naturally seen by a group of people on the ship. Shikamaru's face was shocked, his mouth agape. What kind of monster is this? How can it be so big? It must be 30 or 40 meters high, right? Even more than 50 meters? Conan squinted slightly. A perfect Jinchuriki? No. It doesn't look like a perfect Jinchuriki, it doesn't have human rationality. This is a tailed beast. The tailed beast is in control of the body. Kisame had unconsciously put his hand on the hilt of Seimada. Hey hey hey, has the tailed beast been released? These little brat nowadays really have no patience. Shizue stood with his sword, he said, "The fifth tails in my body told me that the name of the one tail is Shukaku, but unfortunately I can't see what it looks like." Kakashi thoughtfully, "Obito once used Mangekyo Sharingan to control the fourth Mizukage and the three tails. Now that I have two Mangekyo, can I instantly control the one tail Shukaku? Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr knife, holding a wine bowl, half drunk and laughing. It's really ugly. On the Moby Dick, only a few people would be afraid of the appearance of Shukaku. Like Whitebeard, Kakashi, or Kisame, they are not afraid of Shukaku at all. Because they all have the confidence that they can subdue Shukaku. As for people like Azumi Uchiha and Uzumaki Fushi, although they don't have the power to deal with the tailed beast, they trust Pops and other family members very much. This led to the newly appeared Shukaku being a bit embarrassed. Its huge debut momentum did not win its face. Especially Whitebeard's word raccoon. Shukaku heard it clearly. After all, Whitebeard's voice is not much smaller. Raccoon. Shukaku stared at the direction where Whitebeard was with his round and fierce eyes, and roared to justify himself, I am clearly a tanuki. Don't you understand? Human. Believe it or not, this lord will tear you and this broken ship to pieces. Whitebeard drank all the strong liquor in the wine bowl, his sharp eyes met Shukaku's eyes, and a visible conqueror's haki surged out instantly. At this moment, Shukaku seemed to stop breathing for 2 seconds on the spot, even though it didn't need to breathe. Endless pressure instantly pressed on Shukaku's heart, making it full of shock. This human. Shukaku realized that this somewhat old human seemed not simple. Just now for a moment, It actually felt a trace of fear. Shukaku felt very incredible. He suspected that it was an illusion. Hey, Big Raccoon, you made Pops angry. Kakashi put away the little prince in his hand, and said to Shukaku with a blank expression. Shukaku turned his head and glared at Kakashi. His tone was not polite at all, and even had a bit of aggressive aggression. Little brat, who are you? Kakashi looked at Whitebeard. Pops, let me do it. Because Kakashi was worried that if Pops was going to do it, maybe he would kill this foul-mouthed-tailed beast. Whitebeard saw through Kakashi's thoughts at a glance. He sat motionless on the big chair, just gave Kakashi a look. Kakashi understood instantly. Okay, Pops. Kakashi looked at Shukaku with a bit of pity in his eyes. I've warned you. The next moment, Kakashi's eyes condensed, and the 3 Tomoe Sharingan in his eyes slowly turned into Mangekyo Sharingan. The change in his eyes was all seen by Shukaku. Shukaku was dumbfounded. Mangekyo Sharingan? It hurriedly tried to avert its gaze, not wanting to look at Kakashi's pair of eyes. After all, the Mangekyo Sharingan is simply the nemesis of the tailed beasts. It's useless. From the moment you first looked at me, you've already fallen into my Ganjutsu. Kakashi's voice echoed faintly. His eyes were filled with several bloodshot lines. Using the Ganjutsu to control the tailed beast required a great deal of pupil power. At this moment, Shukaku found that the scene in front of him was undergoing earth-shaking changes. The big ship in front of it, and the humans on the ship, began to slowly twist. The scene in front of it was all extremely distorted, and it began to turn into a bloody red color. That ominous blood red gradually converged into 2 huge Mangekyo Sharingan, hanging high in the air staring at Shukaku. The shape of the Sharingan was also reflected in the depths of Shukaku's eyes. Its huge body stood still on the spot, immediately motionless. My eyes are a bit sore. Kakashi slowly exhaled. He didn't expect the first experiment to be successful. The Ganjutsu of the Mangekyo Sharingan does indeed have a very fatal restraining effect on the tailed beasts. No wonder Obito could cause the 9 tails chaos and intensify the blood mist policy with just 1 eye. Kakashi also vaguely understood why the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, would distribute so many tailed beasts. It turns out that the original Hidden Leaf village was not afraid of the tailed beasts at all. As long as the Uchiha clan has a few more pairs of Mangekyo, no matter how many tailed beasts come, it's useless. Unfortunately, the Uchiha clan, under the operation of a few smart people, is already a remnant of a lingering existence. What, it's over just like that? Boring. Tsunade rolled her eyes with a strong smell of alcohol. She thought there would be a good show next, but the one-tail Shukaku was controlled all at once. Shizune was sweating profusely. Tsunade-sama, what are you talking about? Isn't it better not to fight? If you fight with the tailed beast, any slight aftermath might kill someone. Mangekyo Sharingan. Conan deeply looked at Kakashi's back. It seems that he has inherited all the power of Obito Uchiha. Even, he is likely to bring this pair of eyes to a stronger level than Obito Uchiha. Conan thought of a newcomer in the organization called Itachi Uchiha. He also has a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. However, Itachi Uchiha seems to have a deep grudge with the Whitebeard pirate group. Conan hesitated. Should the Akatsuki organization really accept such a newcomer? What if, one day, the Whitebeard pirate group wants to take action against Itachi Uchiha, and then they start a world-shattering war with the Akatsuki organization? What should they do? Conan analyzed rationally. She knew that the current Akatsuki absolutely could not possibly be the opponent of the Whitebeard pirate group. Even if Whitebeard can only tie with Nagato, then who can stop Kakashi Hatake, Hoshigaki Kisame, Shizue Uchiha? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. At the same time, in Naruto's seal space, Kurama's laughter was even more rampant than Shukaku's scream. Kurama was even laughing to tears. It mimicked Shukaku's tone and repeated, "Stinky fox, if I don't teach you a lesson, you will forget how powerful Lord Shukaku is." Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Kurama, who was laughing uproariously, made no secret of his mockery. Is this the very powerful Lord Shukaku? You are really so weak. Ah ha ha ha. I'm laughing to death. Although Nine Tails also had several black histories of being accidentally controlled by the Mangekyo Sharingan. But it doesn't prevent Kurama from now madly mocking Shukaku. Eh? It's been controlled? Naruto was a bit late to realize. He looked up at Shukaku. From this angle he could only see a big butt. It's Kakashi. Sasuke said, it should be his Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke's eyes were a bit hot and a bit anxious. The power of the Mangekyo Sharingan made Sasuke see his future, because he firmly believed that he could also awaken the Mangekyo. But then he thought of that man who also had the Mangekyo. If he ran into him, even if he added the 2 tails in his body, would he not be his opponent? Sasuke couldn't help but clench his fists. Chapter 319, Gar's Past. Whitebeard, what a disgusting ninja village. Gar woke up from his coma. He smelled a very pungent smell of disinfectant. If he didn't guess wrong, this smell should be coming from his own body. It was at this moment that Gar's consciousness suddenly woke up, and his eyes opened instantly. What came into view was not the body of any member of the Whitebeard pirates. What appeared in front of him was a vast desert. And his current perspective is very strange, as if it is floating in midair. Gar couldn't help but be stunned. He looked down at his body, and found that his hands and feet were all tied up by ropes. Gara. He tried to break free from the bondage of the rope, but found that the material of this rope was very special. Even if he used all his strength, he could not break free. On the contrary, the skin on his body was rubbed by the rope to hurt. Or to say, some wounds on his body were faintly painful. Wound? Gara was stunned for a moment. He just reacted. His clothes had long been stripped clean. Almost all over his body, he was wrapped in bandages, as if someone had treated his injuries. He couldn't help but look up, and found a rope floating above his head. No, this rope is not floating, but it is spreading up from the circle of rope on his body. Above the rope, is the bow of Moby Dick. Gara finally understood what his current situation was. He was actually hung up, just hung on the bow of the ship. He is not even very clear about what happened during this period. In the last scene of his memory, he was fighting with two very powerful guys. Then, what happened afterwards, Gara couldn't remember at all. His face was a bit dull, and he couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Am I caught?" There is no satisfactory answer for the time being, but the current situation seems to be 8 or 9 out of 10. Gara was a bit confused. What the hell is going on? How did he lose to this group of pirates without even realizing it? Could it be that he, as a Jinchuriki, is not an opponent of pirates? The reason why he lost that part of the battle memory may be because he entered a violent state during the battle? Or entered a state of unconsciousness, letting the tailed beast in his body run out? That's even more outrageous. If the tailed beast in his body ran out, how could it not be a group of pirates? Gara, who has been living in Hidden Sand Village for these years, indeed has a narrow-minded mentality. In his shallow cognition, the power of other places in the ninja world and the current power of Hidden Sand Village are not much different. And Gara also feels that as a Jinchuriki of the One Tail, he has the power to destroy the entire Hidden Sand Village, so why should he fear a group of pirates who are not as powerful as ninjas? So, he ended up like this. At this moment, Gara felt as if something had fallen from the sky and landed right on his nose. He looked up again and saw a little fat man holding a bag of chips, gnawing while looking down. Crunch crunch. Huh? You're awake? Chaji's gaze met Gara's gaze in midair, and Chaji was immediately scared by Gara's fierce eyes. Then, he hurriedly turned his head and shouted to a group of people behind him, "Naruto! That guy who can turn into a raccoon is awake." With Chaji's shout, it didn't take long for a group of Whitebeard pirates to gather around. They all looked down and could see Gara hanging in midair. Being watched by such a group of people, plus his current situation, Gara has a very special sense of shame. He clenched his teeth, wishing to bite his teeth, and stared at the group of people above with his eyes. "If you have the ability, let me go, and then have a fair one-on-one duel." Hearing this powerless and angry harsh words, Sasuke hooked the corner of his mouth. "You have been defeated, but you still dare to shout here. It seems that you have not received enough lessons." Kinamaru looked at Gara coldly. He said expressionlessly, "Perhaps, this kind of person should be handed over to Orochimaru-sama for research. Isn't it a waste of use?" Karen propped her elbow on the railing of the ship, her palm supporting her cheek. She smiled. "Uncle Kakashi, he seems to be very unconvinced." Kakashi sighed. Young people are full of vitality. Being watched and teased, even Gara, who considers himself dark and cruel, couldn't help but blush. "Damn pirates. If you have the guts, let me and Whitebeard have a fair one-on-one duel." Gara struggled hard. "I can't possibly fail here." Suddenly, a hearty laugh rang out on the ship. "Gorara, pull up this Jinchuriki." After this voice fell, Gara found that the group of pirates above actually obeyed this command and slowly pulled him up. But he was still tied up and was not untied. He wanted to stare at Naruto and them with a fierce look, but he was quickly attracted by a tall and burly figure. Gara was stunned. In his sight, the 6.66 meters Whitebeard is a burly giant. Just such a physique can bring a faint sense of oppression to people. Gara saw for the first time that someone could grow so tall. Rumor has it, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, Whitebeard, is a burly man. Now that I see it, what do you mean by a burly man? This is clearly a giant. Yes. The moment Gara saw Whitebeard, he determined that this must be Whitebeard. Who made Whitebeard's physical features too obvious? Little brat. Whitebeard looked at Gara with interest, his huge body just facing the sun, The huge shadow enveloped Gaara completely. After Whitebeard laughed loudly, he said to Gaara, "Gaara. You say, do you want to challenge me one-on-one?" Cold sweat gradually seeped from Gaara's forehead. He knew he shouldn't fear anyone, especially if they were pirates. But that oppressive feeling from the inside out was not something Gaara could resist. Gaara held back his discomfort. He tried to straighten his waist, and said to Whitebeard with a strong will, "Yes." He said this word emphatically. "Gaara. You're very spirited." Whitebeard laughed, suddenly grabbed the Murakamagiri next to him, swung this ridiculously large Naginata with one hand, and slashed at Gaara. Gaara. Danger. A big danger seemed to appear above Gaara's head. Every cell in his body was reminding him to dodge quickly. But at this time, he found that he couldn't move. His body had been locked by Whitebeard's attack. In other words, Whitebeard's sword came so fast that Gaara barely reacted, but his body couldn't move. Gaara's brain reaction was faster than his body's. Swish. Bang. Just when Gaara thought he was going to die, he suddenly found that the rope that bound him made a slight sound, and then his limbs were free. Gaara was taken aback again. He turned his head to look at the huge Naginata on his side. The sharp blade of the Naginata was terrifying. The blade was less than a millimeter away from Gaara's skin. Gaara. Jinchuriki brat, didn't you say you wanted to challenge old man Whitebeard? Whitebeard slowly stood up from the big chair, holding the Murakamagiri and looking down at Gaara. What's wrong? Why aren't you moving? Are you scared? Whitebeard squinted his eyes and teased, "Then you really disappoint me, brat. Where's that momentum just now? Where's that fierceness? Have you gone soft?" Gaara. Gaara clenched his fists. This kind of tone that teased children made him very upset. His eyes flashed with murderous intent. He clapped his hands, quickly formed seals, and attacked without warning. Die. Sand shuriken. A lot of sand floated up from the desert below the Moby Dick. All the sand condensed into the shape of a shuriken, and quickly rotated, flying towards Whitebeard. At the same time, Gaara's hand seals changed. Desert Rebel. A large amount of sand wrapped around his arms, turning into two huge sand arms. He roared and rushed towards Whitebeard. Unfortunately, his child's play in Whitebeard's eyes was nothing. Whitebeard didn't even use the Murakamagiri in his hand. He just exhaled a breath towards the front. Huh. The surging gale on the spot blew all the sand shuriken to pieces, and Gaara, who was rushing towards Whitebeard, also changed his expression dramatically. He hurriedly raised his huge arms in front of him, trying to use this to block the gale blown out by Whitebeard's breath. As a result, he couldn't hold on for even a second, and the whole person flew backwards. Bang. His body heavily hit the edge railing of the Moby Dick, and he was knocked out of a mouthful of old blood on the spot. His boy was also lying on the deck, in pain like a cooked shrimp, his body curled up, faintly making a painful groan of forced endurance. Gaara didn't know how long he had been slow before he slowly recovered. He looked up incredulously at Whitebeard in front of him. How is it possible? The gap. Cough cough cough. How can it cough? Be so big? As soon as Gaara finished speaking, he rolled his eyes and fainted on the spot. TSK, this guy's temper is really stubborn. He's already a prisoner, but he still wants to challenge Pops. He lost so miserably and still talks tough. Sighed lightly, expressing that she didn't understand people with this kind of personality. Maybe it has something to do with his childhood. Conan said coldly, casually. Oh? Kisame looked at Conan, grinned. You seem to know something we don't know. Oh, right, you are a member of the Akatsuki? You must know a lot of Jinchuriki information, right? Conan realized that she had just spoken too much. But since Kisame had already asked, she could only say, indeed, I know a bit. This Jinchuriki called Gaara, among all Jinchurikas, has a rather miserable experience. Her voice attracted the attention of a group of people around her. Conan could only tell the information she had. These were the information she had painstakingly collected in the Akatsuki organization. Unexpectedly, in a blink of an eye, it became an important information of the Whitebeard pirates. Conan told a lot about Gaara's childhood experiences, including the current Kazekage of Hidden Sand Village wanting to kill his own son. Conan knew all about it and said it. When Conan had been silently speaking for a full 10 minutes, the ship gradually quieted down. This Izumi Uchiha, who has a strong empathetic ability, didn't know what to say. She looked at Gaara, who was unconscious on the ground, and finally could only sigh. If this kind of childhood experience is true, it's no wonder he has such a strange personality. To be honest, if Gaara were an Uchiha, based on his childhood experience, he probably already has Mengekyo Sharingan right now. Shizune held taunton, her eyebrows furrowed. That Kazekage-sama's education method is too deformed, right? Is he really a father? Is this child his own? Sasuke also stopped mocking Gaara. He was silent for a moment, as if thinking, I might understand why only he came to face our entire Whitebeard pirates. In an environment where everyone expects him to die, would anyone help him? He can only stop us with his own power. Kisame spat a bit immorally into the desert. He carried Seimada and looked at the vast desert in the distance. It's a deformed ninja world, it's really annoying. Kakashi's face was complicated. I didn't expect the fourth Kazekage to be such a person, and I didn't expect the ninjas of Hidden Sand Village to just watch a child go through all this. Naruto was very angry. What the hell? How can those adults treat a child like this? Put the dangerous tailed beast on him, and then hated him for not being a qualified Jinchuriki, even want to kill him. Naruto found that compared with Raza, Sarutobi Hiruzen is a good Hokage. He is a little brat who carries a dark experience, and a little brat who is betrayed by his family. Whitebeard sighed. In Whitebeard's view, Raza, as a father, wanted to kill his own son. The reason is just that his son is not a qualified Jinchuriki and will bring danger to the village. This behavior is simply the scum of the scum. It is disgusting. This irresponsible behavior cannot be called a father at all. Whitebeard looked in the direction of Hidden Sand Village, slowly squinting his eyes. It's a disgusting ninja village. Chapter 320, Little Brat, Be My Son. Let's make a big fuss. Gaara woke up again. This time he found that he was not hanging in front of the ship, but lying on a relatively clean hospital bed. His body was still wrapped in bandages as always, and the smell of disinfectant all over his body was even stronger. Gaara woke up instantly. His gaze wandered around, finding no one within a few meters. He also saw a huge gourd placed by the bed, covered with adhesive tape, as if it had been repaired by someone. That was the gourd that Naruto had shattered. Ganjutsu? Gaara's first reaction was that he was under a Ganjutsu. After all, he had run over wanting to kill the pirates, and he had previously wanted to challenge Whitebeard. Under such circumstances, how could the pirates possibly give him such good medical conditions? And how could they have repaired the shattered gourd for him? Gaara took a deep breath and made a seal with both hands, release. Although he is not good at Ganjutsu, he can also release Ganjutsu ninjutsu. After all, Raza is very worried that Gaara, a failing Jinchuriki, will be controlled by someone else's Ganjutsu and eventually lose control. In this way, the village would be in danger. This led to the first ninjutsu that Gaara learned in his life, being the ninjutsu to release Ganjutsu, rather than the classic three-body technique of the ninja. But Gaara found the scene in front of him did not change. Not Ganjutsu? Or is this Ganjutsu too good? Gaara unhesitatingly pulled out a few infusion needles inserted in his body, glanced at the dripping blood from the needle hole, and gently licked it with his tongue. A pair of vigilant eyes kept wandering and observing every corner, and finally carefully stood up from the sickbed. But before he could react, the door was suddenly pushed open. Gaara was suddenly startled. He decisively made a seal, wanting to attack. You little brat are quite lucky. Until Tsunada's voice suddenly sounded, other Jinchuriki who were caught here, in less than half a day, the tailed beast in their bodies was transferred away. The tailed beast in your body is still in your body, and that old man specifically asked me to treat you. It seems that Whitebeard is quite interested in you. After Tsunada finished these two sentences, her head tilted slightly, and an invisible wind blade almost flew past her ear. It was a wind-style ninjutsu used by Gaara. Hey. Tsunada didn't change her face. She complained dissatisfiedly, what do you mean by this little brat? I worked hard to treat you again, but you attacked me? Gaara didn't bother to listen to Tsunada's words, he just quickly left this place. After several beatings, he finally realized that the Whitebeard pirates were not something an 8-year-old child could touch. Even if he is a Jinchuriki, even if he can borrow the power of the tailed beast, he cannot shake the huge Whitebeard pirates. Wind style, mirage high technique. A handful of sand floated out of the huge gourd, accompanied by Gaara's ninjutsu. Under the combination of wind and sand, it made Tsunada's eyes a yellow blur. At least in the naked eye's vision, she couldn't see Gaara. And at this excellent opportunity, Gaara quickly approached Tsunada. He stooped down, wanting to crawl out from under Tsunada's crotch. But when he just ran to Tsunada, a fair jade foot suddenly stepped down and stepped on Gaara's head. Only heard a thud muffled sound. Gaara fell to the ground on the spot. He was stepped down by Tsunada. Little brat, you look down on me too much. I am after all the salmon. Tsunada. Tsunada rolled her eyes. Her foot didn't use too much force, just suppressing Gaara, making him unable to get up. Gaara tried to struggle, but found that this woman's strength was outrageous. His face was always in close contact with the floor, and he couldn't struggle free from Tsunada's trampling. Looking down at Gaara, Tsunada sighed. She had also learned about Gaara's past from others. She knew this was a little brat with a rather pitiful past. Tsunada began to speak, there's no need to overreact, no one wants your life, The Whitebeard pirates have dealt with so many Jinchuriki, and only 3 tails Jinchuriki has died at their hands. Even if the Whitebeard pirates want to take the tail beast from inside you, they have methods to safely extract the tail beast from you, and you will not be in danger of life. Tsunoda paused, then continued, you've seen it too,